Wait, Loco, do you have more Twitter followers than me?
Beat Pr0lly on.
Look. Does he?
Yeah,
Does he actually beat you on that?
Of course, I don't almost
So
double
you
him.
say, of course. Have you got as many as me? Have you?
I don't have many as you, but I do know for a fact I have many as Pr0lly.
I was never even a pro, never even a coach, never even won a championship. Where's all my followers
Duncan,
from?
you're multi-game, multi-national, global superstar analyst. Yeah. I mean, props to you, man.
I didn't choose this life. Yeah, you have to understand.
You literally chose this life. You literally chose this life.
There's a great saying, right? Some men, something like some men are born for greatness. Some men have greatness thrust upon them. I'm in the latter category, I was just living my life one day and the world said, please, we need someone to talk shit on everyone with no accountability. And I was like, well, if someone's got to do it, may as well be me. Right. Well, here's the thing, actually, Pr0lly. One thing I do appreciate is a lot of people talk shit on you, right? And they're like, you ruined 100 Thieves. Like, they're one of the top teams. You created one of the greatest academy teams ever. Like, someday, a guy who used to be one of the top pros in Korea is fucking legit. He plays in academy. He's a champion. He just won the title. Give him credit.
No one believed in him in academy. Like, no one tried to pick him up or anything, except for me. I had the brain to think about that.
There we go.
I'm very proud of myself about that one.
Right, let's start then. Do you know what the episode is, Loco? What number is it?
Let me check. It's very
80 something, maybe 82 or something.
I think the last one was 82. Let me just double check.
I think it's 82 because I think the last one was the croissant guy where everyone was just crying like, oh, why didn't you let him talk? It's like, why the fuck would I want to? Have you seen his face?
What, you invited him? I do think we should be nice to
that.
That's the real joke, isn't it, Loco? They don't realise. Loco doesn't fucking want that guy on the show. He wouldn't be like his first choice to recruit. That's one of my people, who's like my narrative weight gang, where I just bring on analysts who I think are like dead interesting, but they're just super nerds that no one would want to hear them go super in depth. So I try and somehow pair that with a little bit of entertainment and hopefully make a shot of it. But anyway, don't feel too self-conscious.
Dude, look what I got. Owner from Rogue sent me a fucking Rogue jersey.
Editor, put what I'm about to say in this VOD with this right. This is what a clout chaser Loco is. Now that TSM has truly fallen, he's literally become a meme. He's now all in on Rogue. He literally now thinks that Rogue would beat them in a best of 5 because Rogue is like a legit team now, so...
I cannot believe they actually sent this. They were like, can we have your address? I'm like, why? Are you gonna fucking shoot me or something? And they actually sent me this instead. I thought I was gonna get killed.
You probably thought they were giving you a coaching offer, and they were like, listen, we'd really love to talk to you. You're like, well, I'm going to have to think about it. Listen, bro, it's just for a T-shirt. Just tell us what size. What size girl's T-shirt do you want? Small. Right, I get it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, listen, Loco.
Doesn't have the sleeves cut off already.
I've told him before. I don't know why. He actually does unironically wear wife beaters when he does the show.
What do you mean unironically? I'm comfortable with my body.
Because there's a reason it was... Yeah, you're about the only one who is comfortable with your body, mate.
Duncan, you can't...
About 98% of the female population of this planet entirely uncomfortable with your body, mate.
Really?
You're the fucking Joe Biden of esports, mate. Yeah. No, I know, you're the Joe Biden of esports. You're just coming up behind people. Oh, hey, baby. Oh, how you doing? Oh, let me give you a little hug. Which friends? Hair smells nice. What is that? L'Oreal Fructis? Well, why take 2 bottles in the shower? Just take 1 bottle of me, bottle of Hennessy. Let's see where it goes, right?
What the fuck is that anyway, on people?
This is episode 82 of Listen Loco. Everything I just said was in the show. Editor, keep that in. If you want, since you're just some little reamed out Asian nerd who has no impact on life aside from editing the show, maybe put a funny thing in, like maybe when I say this, put in like, wah, 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 and then just release the VOD at like fucking 7 a.m. fucking, I don't know, Jupiter time when nobody's online to watch it. It'll just get instantly downvoted on Reddit and that'll be the end of our lives. So cheers. Anyway, welcome to the show. Started with a bit of positivity, a joke, and then became negative. So kind of like 100 Thieves. Right, Pr0lly here. Yep. Guest, I want to ask you a question because a lot of people don't know this, Pr0lly. Right? Obviously, you are the head coach of 100 Thieves. And it's up to you what you want to say about this. But is it not true that within the org, aren't you like partly the GM as well or something? Am I missing something there? Are you kind of like responsible for who you recruit and stuff?
I definitely don't have all the responsibilities a GM would probably have.
Okay. Like maybe I misheard, but I was under the impression you were the one who gets to kind of decide who comes to the team as well, which is obviously different from some coaches,
Yeah, I'd say from roster construction, that would be the start of what I'm kind of taking over in terms of responsibility that a GM would normally have.
Okay.
But I'd say everything else a GM does, I definitely don't do. Yeah.
because the thing is, right, obviously we should start out with some 100 Thieves talk and let's get into it. No, because the thing with that whole topic is, I actually am interested in the very beginning part because when the franchising came along and 100 Thieves joined and we saw the roster you put together, like I actually remember, I have pretty good memory for shows usually. I was actually semi-critical because I remember seeing the names and being like, these are like good names on paper, but some of these players look a bit washed up. Like obviously Ryu hadn't been at his best for quite a while. Like Meteos is like, fuck it, wasn't he like half out the door when he's at P? You know, like there's a lot of names. Someday again, who knew what he was going to do? It looked like he was doing a victory lap. Like a lot of these names to some people were like weird lineup of players. So like, did you actually? What was the concept behind why you wanted these players? Can you give us some insight?
So yeah, a quick rundown. I think it started is pretty hard to make a roster from nothing. Like when 100 Thieves joined franchise, it was really hard because like I'm not.
Isn't the first question they also ask? Don't a lot of pros who are good? The first question that says, "Who else have you got?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, well, who else is signed already? I mean, one of the questions is like, this was 2 years ago, so it was like, who the hell are 100 Thieves? Was a question I got a lot. But no, I mean, I watched Ryu. Obviously, I coached him a lot, and for the NA mid pool, for imports that were already here, because I didn't want to come to NA, import a like brand new person while I'm also trying to figure out the NA culture. So I wanted someone who, like, if I had to do imports, I wanted imports that had already been around here, at least for my first year. And I think Ryu was the first one that I picked up and signed, with Blake and Jackson. And from there, we started speaking with Meteos and Someday pretty much simultaneously. And Meteos, I mean, I've just watched him for a really long time. Like, remember playing with him when I was like a player. That actually happened. So like I always knew he was like a pretty solid player, and I think the teams that he was on, like, just talking with him, it just didn't seem like he was ready to come back into the scene in the past. It didn't seem like he was like unskilled, and that's why he wasn't in the league. It was just like, personal things. And then when I had spoken to him 2 years ago, he was like, I think I'm ready to come back. And I knew he was a good player, and mentally he seemed ready to come back. So I was like, all right, this seems like a pretty good pickup. And then Someday came right after. He was just, super boss top laner, and I think that was a kind of an obvious one. And then Afromu and Cody were kind of like at the very end, because we didn't know what to do for a bot. Really, it was pretty hard. And definitely for Afromu, we were like, yeah, probably not going to get him. So he was like high on the list, but we kind of started moving on because we were like, he probably won't want to join us.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, so then once he joined, and like, Cody followed right after, so the lineup just kind of like fell into place once we were able to get like Ryu Meteos together, and those were like the first two pickups. And it was pretty much just like I knew how the solo lanes would play, and I knew how the jungler would play. So for me, it was just I need to make sure the bot can fit in with what our strategy is going to be. So the roster seemed pretty easy to work with, just like on paper.
Right, what about this then? So one of the players you talk about there, who obviously was the center of a lot of the controversy around 100 Thieves, was Cody's son. And the reason why that's actually a pretty interesting topic to bring up now, because obviously we'll talk about him on this show. He's on Clutch Gaming now, and he's kind of had this split, something of a renaissance. People are going to consider him like a top player. So from your perspective, like what I know, a lot has been said, but I can't remember how many of these are like press statements, how much was public, etc. Right? The take I got from people was something along the lines of like stylistically he had issues in 100 Thieves or something, because clearly he has talent as a player, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, stylistically, kind of. It was like I don't know how to put this. So when there's stylistic problems on the team, that's usually like one of the easiest problems to function with. Because usually that just means change draft or change like early game priority, or like you could pretty much talk people out of like certain styles if they're doing something like horrendous or anything. So it's really not a big issue. So playstyle wise, it wasn't like ideal, because I like really vocal like players just pretty much everywhere, and Cody wasn't really a vocal person. So that was just like a flavor. It wasn't really like a
right
cut anything. But really what happened is it was just kind of like his performance wasn't the same as it was in spring or even kind of in the middle of summer. So towards the end of that, that's kind of where it went with him. So seeing him play well now on CG, where I know like Lyra and Huni run a lot of the games, like yeah, he could fit in with that. And I think he's playing really well individually. So I think he's just kind of back in form. And I don't think he was ever like not able to come back from it. But it's just like in the time we had him, I wasn't able to get him back in form by the time we actually had to play.
Like, put it this way, I would say this is probably what I think confuses people about the whole scenario. It's not just what happened with 100 Thieves, where he was benched and you brought in Rikara and then all the rest of it. I think the part that confuses people is the fact that, to some degree, that seemed to tank his rep as well. And so he didn't get picked up for other teams until now, basically. And he only now got his chance. Quite frankly, I've got to just be honest, he only really got his chance now because of Piglet's problems. Like, if Piglet had been the ideal AD carry, maybe you never see Cody's son in LCS rather until 2020 or something like that. So that made it seem to people who are outside the scene, like casual fans, like, oh, does that mean internally in the scene there's like some bad rep that he has? Like, is he a troublemaker? Is he some like low-key Dardoch figure and other teams have put off by him? Because that's the thing I was kind of shocked by, was that the other squad, like, it's one thing if 100 Thieves doesn't have him. 100 Thieves is trying to, at least at the time, be like one of the contenders for the title. Some of the other squads they're beggars can't be choosers. Some of them could use a player like Cody Sen for my money.
So I'll speak on this a little bit, because when I was doing the same offseason as Pr0lly when I joined for Golden Guardians, and when I asked about Cody's son, I heard negative things regarding his mental from his previous team, Immortals.
A little bit closer to the mic.
When I talked, I did the same off season as Pr0lly. So Cody's son was one of the players I looked at, and in League of Legends, you really can't fucking know what a player is like, and the best way to know what a player is like is to talk to previous teammates and to talk to previous staff. So I talked to a lot of staff on Immortals, and I talked to a lot of players on Immortals, and I heard negative things regarding his mental. So I definitely do think Cody's son, like, as a player now, went through so much changes with the 100 Thieves stuff, playing for Clutch Academy, and then finally getting a shot and getting better in-game and getting better out-of-game. But community just cannot phantom, like, this player used to have mental problems and he got better with it. He's always been this good. He always has been like this kind of a player, and 100 Thieves mistreated him. Yeah, it's just players improve, people improve, like, people learn and players get smarter. And especially when you're that young, and especially when you haven't gone through failures before, you can be overconfident, you can be cocky. So I just don't think people can grasp that, and that's the kind of 2 cents I want to add.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I mean, for Cody, at least, like, through playoffs, we were still working with him. And then even through Worlds, we were still splitting time with him, working with him to try to get him back into form. So, yeah, I never had a point where I was like, all right, this guy, like, can't cut it. And we just, like, stopped treating him as a player anymore. But for his rep, I don't know what happened with that, because, I don't know, I'm still kind of weirded out a bit during offseason when, like, some of my players are, like, moving around and stuff. And, like, I actually don't have that much FaceTime with other coaches about, like, my previous rosters. Like, some of my players have gotten picked up and no one's been like, hey, how's this guy? And pretty much everyone on my roster, or anyone even in Europe that I've, like, picked up, like, I'm always, like, trying to talk to the team. I mean, I guess the big holes are with, like, Che and Nuclear, when it was like I had no contact with Jinair and who was he on?
I assume one of the other bad teams. Spenu, yeah, the really bad one.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe.
I think those I didn't have any contact with their coaches, so I didn't have any information on the players. But I don't know. So for his rep, I don't know where that came from. Just Reddit stuff, I guess, or maybe players talked.
Okay, right. A couple more players before we jump into the other stuff with the game. So a player I want to ask about was actually Afro, like you mentioned. So as you referenced there, logically, when you're going through all the players, as you say, he's a player that you even think maybe he's not even going to be available. Like, I'll inquire, but for all I know, maybe he's going to TSM or some fucking Cloud9. There's plenty of teams that someone like that might be getting recruited to, because he's someone who's got a massive name and his brand's pretty big, and obviously what he's done in the game's pretty impressive with good and bad lineups. Right? In your team, on the one hand, he won an MVP in the first split. But then, obviously, the last year he has taken heavy criticism. He's one of the players, I'd say, who's taken the most flack, particularly because this is the downside of, like, narratives that work for you can definitely turn against you. So the narrative that worked for him was he's a macro genius. He's making all these great calls. Well, the problem is when the team then can't even get to a mid game in a winning state ever, people are going to think, well, you're doing your job. So who is Afro to you? Like, what's he been like in your team?
Yeah, I think he's been that. I mean, obviously, yeah, I think in spring was our big, like, kind of nosedive out of the whole time I've known him. That was when he was, like, obviously playing his worst and stuff like that. But I would say for this team, that's kind of the rock he's been, is, like, he is a really vocal shot caller from like the start of the game, and then when the game gets really long, really crazy, that's kind of like his like forte. And I've been on enough teams, and I've even heard like how teams talk in like 35, 40-minute late games.
It goes to shit, doesn't it, the comms at that point? That's what, for anyone who doesn't know, the reason why you have so many desperation barons is the desperation isn't that they like are doing the baron. It's that's the only thing they think they can do to win the game. They think, what can we do? Don't know, just do the baron, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get to this point and you don't get practice on it in scrims ever. No one plays 40-minute, 3-kill games and only plays for team fights. So the practice for this kind of like shot calling is really low. And once you get into it, your mental changes pretty dramatically because it's no longer like we can fight here and see what happens. And usually like, oh, we lost flash, we missed ults, like, we have to reset. Like usually your punishments are workable. When you get to 40 minutes, your punishments are you lost the game. So that's when shot calling becomes really like, or macro becomes really, really bad because no one's like, I'm going to go here because on the 1% chance that they're there, I die and this game's over. So
if you just get fanatic brushed, the game is over. You get wiped and that's the end of the game. The death time is too long. Yeah.
Even just one person dying and being in a 4v5 situation late game, so shitty.
Yeah, so it's like I think they reset. There's a really good chance they reset, so I can walk here. That's what you think for 30 minutes of a game as a support in jungle. But once you get to 40 minutes, you're like, I'm gonna pretend they're here all the time. So that's when it becomes really, really slow. And that's where Zach does a really good job because he's pretty comfortable being creative in the game. So when a lot of people like choke up and they're like, oh, we can't walk here because they could be here, he does a good job of like juggling the numbers and being like, all right, they're not going to be here. Like there's no way there's more than one person here. So if we walk up as 2, this one guy is pushed out, we're fine. So when we get into mid late game, he usually is a lot more aggressive as a shot caller compared to a lot of other people I've seen. So that's like his kind of big thing.
And then the other guy along those lines, because it's obviously relevant to exactly this topic, is bringing in Amazing, because he's someone where, if you notice his actual career rep in Europe, the last few times he's been on teams, he's kind of the guy where when your team goes to shit and the jungle situation's utterly fucked, you bring him in to try and rescue you and take you to the playoffs. He tried to do it for your team. He's done it for many teams in Europe because he's a vet. He's been in loads of teams. Obviously, he himself understands the game pretty well. And in your team, he talked about it when he came on the episode himself. Like, is he kind of like supposed to also be a shot calling element and a voice in that regard? Was that some of the concept of bringing him?
Yeah, he's a pretty big shot caller. We didn't need like someone to like. We didn't want someone that could like solo shot call the game or something like that. But one big element was just, I don't want to say like team camaraderie, but just some kind of like glue that can hold the team together, like aggressively hold the team together, if you know what I mean. So Maurice was kind of that personality that we haven't had on the team, where he's like, he really cares about the team and his teammates and spending time and like talking and like just having some kind of back and forth. So on a team with so many like kind of lone wolves, and then like in a sense, it became really like difficult to like deal with some issues because no one felt comfortable bringing them to the surface.
Wait,
and
can I ask?
Maurice was definitely the guy to do that. What's up?
Can I ask why Afro isn't that
you
person?
You are asking. Just go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Afro. When I think Afro, I think like.
What if I said no to your question?
Do it. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, I'm gonna ask anyways. So Afro is usually like the glue person. Like when I think CLG, I think like friendship, and I think like Afro, like shielding Link from like flames.
There was that time Cody's son used to eat all the glue when they were trying to do all the arts and crafts around Christmas. Hey, keep going, whatever, just keep going.
But like that's what I remember when I think Afro. Like CLG, friendship. Like Afro is the leader. Afro is the person that brings everyone together. Like I feel like you already had that person on your team.
Like he's like good for the kind of like, what's the way to put it? Like, I think he would be able to be the glue in a team full of Maurices. If that makes sense. But with our team, everyone
Maurice's
was like,
Pieces, as the team could in fact be called.
Maurice's Pieces is the new team coming out in EU, by the way. He's playing all 5 roles.
It's got a little bit of saltiness there with the peanut butter, but it's got the chocolate as well. You know, you get the nice element as well. You know.
Yeah, and this German chocolate's so great. But yeah, so with Zach, he's naturally a pretty quiet person. So if everyone is like that, like he can't glue people together that aren't talking.
Okay.
So I think if we had a team that was like a lot more like social, then Zach would be able to fit in really well with that and be kind of that kind of glue for everybody. But this iteration of the roster in spring was like, wow, this is the quietest group of players I've ever seen in my life. So Zach wasn't able to do his thing because he's not the one to like be the loudest or center of attention. He's kind of like the stoic monolith that's sitting there being like, "Come to me."
Okay.
That's what I. That's
No,
what,
I
that's
sort of get it though, because here's the thing, Loco. Like, he's one of those people where even when 100 Thieves was in their worst period, if you actually went and talked to him in real life or you messaged him in DM, he'd never be like, yeah, you know, hard times. Like, if you message, like, I once messaged him and basically the gist of the message, I just told him, like, along the lines of, like, you know, you were a great player, like, just turn your career around and everyone forget the one. And he was just like, yeah, all right, yeah, cool, keep on keeping on. It's like, oh, fucking hell, all right then.
Yeah,
Just trying to have some fucking epic movie moment. You're just like, oh well, yeah, got to run actually right now. Got errands to do. Like, fucking hell, all right.
I'm sure.
How chill is this guy?
That's Zach's reaction to everything.
I don't know him as well as Pr0lly does, but he definitely is too cool for school until like you get to know him better, and then he'll open up and he'll actually talk to you. But that is definitely like on a stranger or like.
Fuck this guy with his humble bragging. Do you see the way he did that there, Pr0lly? It's so ridiculous, isn't it? But whatever, keep going, Loco.
It's true. Like
Loco. Sorry, let me just. I'll just be quiet so you can talk about your close personal friend, Zachary, as you call him. Not Afro. Oh, you call him Afro? No, I only call him Zach. Zach for short. You know when we were kicking it at the crib, but fucking hell, man, you're ridiculous. Keep going, Loco. Come on. You've got your clout. Come on then.
Okay. I'm saying that is definitely the initial, but once you get to know him better, it is different.
Yeah. But for like, okay, so for example, for a team environment, right? You're getting 5 random people put together, and if this guy who's naturally like pretty quiet, unless you get to know him, he's supposed to be your glue. It's like it's not going to work well because you guys have to.
You want the opposite.
Each other.
You want the gregarious guy, exactly the outgoing guy from day one, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing building this roster this year that I made a big mistake on. I just completely whiffed it, and that was where bringing in Maurice was kind of the remedy to the problem.
We have to ask about Huhi Onda. Like that's like the big looming question. Why did Huhi Onda? Why were they the starting mid and jungle for your team in spring?
I mean, honestly, I used a pretty similar template to last year. With at least with mid laners, where I was like, all right, Huhi's going to be like pretty similar to Ryu, but he's like a domestic, and I think he has like pretty similar style. I think the big differences were like, yeah, Ryu's going to be like super happy to play assassins in the meta, and then on the other side, it's like I think Hui's going to be a lot more comfortable playing these like as your Ori if he has to kind of thing, and then that was a big reason for Hui. And then the second big thing for Hui is I really misjudged how the meta would be. When the turret plate changes came in, I was under the impression that this would make the game a lot more like mobile, where you needed to leave your lane a lot. Because the threat of your turret going down was lower, because as soon as the plate goes down, it gets new resistances.
Right.
Obviously, that before 5 minutes, the top and mid turret have the natural resistances they put in when they took out lane swaps. It's like, all right, so I have a mid laner who's like not going to be the greatest laner, but he's going to be a good team player. He's going to influence the map a lot, and he's a pretty socially outgoing person, kind of like how Maurice was. So he was going to help bring the Afro glue on the team. So obviously that was really wrong, and then I think I judged his skill level a bit incorrectly, at least what he was like really good at. So that came back to bite us, and then obviously, misread how the meta would be with the plates, because it turned out the complete opposite, where it's like you want people who are fucking strong in lane, and they just take those plates. No one leave your lane if it's going to mean you're losing plates.
I actually think, by the way, as a quick aside, because we've never actually talked about this on the show, I actually think that's one of the reasons also why the game became so much bloodier. Because, why are you going to reset if you have a chance to survive in lane to not give up the plates? Like, it encourages you to stay in scenarios where otherwise you'd be like, who cares if he takes the third of my tower and I come back and I've just lost a few minions. Who cares on that one, right?
Yeah, because usually when you got a lane advantage, you would get 10, 15 CS and your gold would be 300 up and you have pressure. So like when you would play losing matchups last year, for example, you could probably deal with it for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes and be pretty fine. But now what happens, like if you're playing endure matchup for 10 minutes, the enemy has like 2 kills on you now, because he's going to get at least 2 turret plates, and he's going to get that 10, 15 CS lead that he got. So there's a lot more reason to be aggressive because you get a lot more, and it's a lot harder to play these endure style lanes where you're just kind of like holding on by a thread.
What can I ask? Like a very simple question people would say is, Huhi was 7th 3 times, I think, with CLG, and he was one of the, as people would say, like underperforming members. Like, wasn't that like a question like internally, like the org needed to have? Like, we're picking up a mid laner from a 7th place team, like for 3 splits in a row, and he's also the one that's struggling. Like, is this what we're really going to do? Is this how we upgrade?
I don't think you even need to sugarcoat it that much. Let's just be real. If I'd have took a community consensus of like analysts, commentators, people just watching the game, but in theory you shouldn't have like a bias for, like they didn't work with the team or whatever. I think most people would have said like he's nowhere near like the player you need to be a mid laner in if you want to be a top team in LCS. I think a lot of people would say that. So basically what he's asking is like, was this not a concern coming in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is some of it. It felt similar to year one though, where like Aftermoon came off a pretty bad split as well. Medios wasn't even on a team, and then Ryu's on P1, who was in relegation. I think someday did they do okay on Dig?
They made playoffs, and someday was counted as one of the best.
He was doing well, but
they made a run at playoffs. Yeah. So again, last year I had a lot of players that were like pretty low on the totem pole by the end of the split. I think Zach is just, or Aftermoon is just a kind of a big name, but I think he also had bad performance. So when that kind of conversation came back, it felt very similar to the one last year. Whereas like, are you worried about this guy's poor performance? And I mean, I've seen like who he had his like highs. So I was like, okay, I know at least where he can go, and I know where he was last year. So if I can not find a happy middle, but push it, like get him to the middle and then push it further, I can get him probably closer to like, CLG at like MSI and stuff when he was doing really well. I figured I could unlock that, especially with the mid lane talent, because I like talking to mid laners a lot more than other lanes. I just have more agency.
You used to play the position, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So him being the one that I needed to like make sure I got him back in form was like a challenge I was pretty happy to take.
By the way, Loco, that's one area where I'll just bring this up because it's an interesting, like more abstract point, but it's an area that I'm going to have to say I will criticize you on. I've said it in the past, is you often use that thinking. Like you're thinking if I was to ask you right now, like who should TSM pick up, right? And then like now maybe like this split, to be fair, a lot of the teams that are on the bottom in LCS still have good players, but normally like the lower teams are considered to have the worst players. I've told you your flaw is you can never allow them to make a move that to you on paper is a downgrade. So to you, like if they were going to pick up a player and you were like, but he's on like the 8th best team, why you pick up him? Like, why not just go in? And then you would always, unfortunately, because you're trying to get the upgrade, it's like trying to tell someone to only do business deals where they massively benefit. Like, well, that's all well and good to say, mate, but like life isn't like that, is it? Like, you've got to take a gamble sometimes. So I actually notice, in my opinion, it's more the traditional sports approach like this as well. In traditional sports, you don't look at the guy's last team and go, right, whoever he is there is who he's going to be on my team. What you do actually is you bring him in for a workout, you look at his actual skill set, you try and basically take the nameplate off and look, who is he now as a player and what is his potential? And then you ask yourself, could I bring that potential in my team now? So as a result, there are plenty of players who you could recruit who will be terrible for your team because they're only popping off because they're in a team that perfectly suits them. They've had one split. All the things that would make them look attractive might actually not be good reason to pick them up. Meanwhile, there are players, obviously we might talk about this in a minute because I know this is one of the teams he was thinking about. Someone like Forgiven, there's a reason why you keep saying it, Loco. Like you agree with Reddit, like, wow, they won't pick him up. Like he's so out of the game. It's like, that's not the way that coaches would see it. Coaches would say, look at this guy's skill set, look at his mentality, talk to him. Is he someone who seems like he's into the game? Would he want to be a top player? And then you ask yourself, would that be really good for my team? And if I'm a good coach, hopefully I can bring that out of him. We're going to get him back to his form. You're not thinking we're just going to play. It's not like a plug and play on every piece.
So, I mean, thanks for grouping me with Reddit, but I mean, I definitely don't think that way. And the problem with like picking up players in esports is, as you talked about in traditional sports, like you have a player, like you have their stats, like how they fit into the team, and then you bring them for a workout. Like Lakers right now, like they're trying people for a workout. Like they bring them over to the facility and they assess their skill sets. In esports, it's nothing like that. You have to go from word of mouth, what they've shown on the team, and talking to the players and talking to the coaches on the team. You realistically don't have a way to try out that player and see how he would fit on your team. I know people are going to bring up fringe cases of, but they brought this player to this tourney and they got to try it out. Like out of like the thousands of roster moves that's been made, like how many times has that been done? So a lot of it is theoretical and it is going off of word of mouth of the coaches and the players. So I mean,
yeah, but the problem I have is this. If you're on like a 50-team NFL roster, maybe you can look at that guy's play and get a sense of what he'd be like. But in League of Legends, like since there's only 5 players and the style absolutely dictates some of the players do not get to do everything that they would want and would play to their natural strengths all the time, just because of the way that a team structure works. Sometimes it is impossible to look at the old team and know who that guy is going to be on your team. Like, it's one of the reasons why, by the way, I don't actually blame NA entirely for picking up what I consider like some of the washed up Koreans over the years, because actually some of them are like, actually, you know what? Ryu's a perfect example. Ryu last year looked like a bomb. I'm not surprised he got removed. Ryu, when he came back now, was a functional player. He was serviceable for what 100 Thieves needed him for. So, like, as a player, as long as he is motivated to play, Ryu will never be the worst mid laner in LCS if he's absolutely motivated to play. Like, he'll always be a competent player, like a service. So, like, I mean it along those lines, basically. Like, I think you can't be too, like, results oriented in that regard, you know.
Okay, I mean, as you said, like, let's say there's a random player. This random player doesn't play as a carry on his team because he has an insane top laner. He's an 80 carry. He has an insane top laner, so the team just plays the top side because it just doesn't make sense. Yeah. And then I'm picking up this guy to be a main carry for my team, and I can't judge him on that skill because he hasn't shown it on his former team. So I just have to judge it by, like, whatever people are saying or whatever he's shown in game, but he played like a utility.
I'll say something that's going to be really obnoxious now. This is how you know I spend too much time around other people that I also do shows with. What LS or veteran would tell you their Loco is like, well, yeah, but I would just watch him play solo queue in the game, and I know the game, so I would know how good he is. Like, you're having to go like, well, how's he doing that? Like, I'm not hating on you, by the way. I'm not claiming I know that. Like,
that's fucking
maybe in
bullshit.
CS I might be arrogant enough to claim that, but in League of Legends, that is what they would always claim, because obviously they try to pick out all the future talents, don't they? I mean, I'm just saying that is their angle.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Well, for scouting now, like, obviously ProView makes it much easier, but even last year, like, I don't think a lot of coaches or players understood, like, we got the replays of LCS. They weren't in
you
ProView.
could actually go and watch all the lanes, though, in theory.
Yeah, so we could actually go back and watch the lanes.
Oh, that's cool.
But their workaround was really, really annoying, so I'm really glad they did ProView. Thank you, guys, for doing that. But, yeah, so it was a really big headache. So you could still scout players from how they're playing, but Loco, your example is like scouting up. Like, I understand scouting players are way harder now because we don't have a training system or anything like that, and it is purely word of mouth, especially in like a strategic 5-on-5 like communication based game. It's hard to know who's doing what. So scouting is definitely pretty difficult. But the example you're using is like someone you're picking up as the main carry, but he's not the main carry of the previous team. Isn't that just mean
that was an extreme example, but it's hard to judge players on skill sets that they haven't shown before and how they will fit into your team.
Yeah, that's what we call in the business a straw man, and that will be a tactic used all by Loco.
That's gonna be that's your gamble, right?
Yeah, he just gambles and thinks he throws any shit at the wall and sees it. Oh, right, you meant a gambling. My bad. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like Huhi, right? He's gonna be this like outgoing social like glue for the team when he gets out of game. Like, we've literally only heard that about him.
Oh, I bet he is. I bet he comes with a fucking cake. I bet he has everyone's coffee. Like, what's that? A chocolate latte?
Dude, his dog is adorable.
Let's all agree.
Let's all agree.
I bet he has a fucking dog. I bet he's using it like
I
you.
love his dog.
When you go to the park, smoking one cigarette with that little poodle and waiting for all the girls to come over, don't you?
I babysit the Huhi's dog is a pair. There's a Maru and Haru, and I babysit Maru all the time. I love Maru and Haru.
Are you his uncle or something? Yeah. Fucking hell! I bet you kiss him on it. I bet you literally are one of those people who kisses dogs directly on the lips, aren't you? Oh my god, he's going to say yes. How was just it out there? Fucking hell, he does. Jesus Christ.
Anyways, what about Anda?
Eat dog food and lick their own ass. What are you doing?
It's cleaner than your own mouth. It's cleaner than your mouth, Thorin. And also,
I was going to say, mate, at this point in time, you're obviously clearly not cared about disease being shared, are you? Fucking hell. At this point, you're like, I am the disease, Skylar. I am the one who makes your pee burn.
Anyway, you have to answer about Anda. Yeah. What about Anda? Why should I pick up Anda?
Anda was really good while we were doing playoffs and Worlds prep. He's a really strong player, really good attitude, especially like obviously Worlds and playoffs was like really rough time for us. Like, we were fucking losing like crazy and stuff like that. So it was really easy for like the team to crumble. And he was one of the players who was like kind of keeping it together despite being like a rookie and kind of being thrown into this team. He was doing really well, playing really well. And then in spring, the meta like shifted and it became more about him being kind of like a main engage, and that was obviously one of his weaknesses because like we had just been playing this like really skirmish style for months with him, and it was working well with him. So when it turned into like, okay, you're gonna solo engage a team fight and have to like play it out slowly, like he wasn't good at that yet, and he also is like a really quiet person. Is that was kind of going back to one of the big tenets I fucked up building the roster is like he was our quietest player and the most vocal role required. And getting someone to talk more is a really like hard task to do, and that was something like me and him like we just couldn't achieve that together. Like we couldn't get him talking the amount he needed to, engaging the amount he needed to. So that's why that didn't work out well. And yeah, he was brought up because he was playing really well in the World's meta, and I thought it would fit well in Spring as well.
That's actually an abstract I guess we could go on to, because I mean, me and Loco have discussed it before, but I actually personally am a bit of a hardliner on jungle role in that regard. Like, I think you can certainly have teams where the jungler's just a really good jungler, but he takes a lot of he takes his cues from other people and he does what they want and he plays around the maybe what you planned before the game or something. That could work, but the problem for me is I feel like to make that work, you need a very specific type of team. Like, for example, maybe you need a very vocal mid laner, or maybe you need a top laner who's willing to be sacked all the time and play for another lane.
You're describing TSM. You're literally describing TSM.
I know. You need a lot of basically you need a lot of like other things, contingent factors, I guess you would say, that would overlap and make this not a weakness. But the problem is by default, I would want my jungler to be very vocal. In fact, that's why when I hear like the criticisms of the likes of the Dardocs and the Meteos of the world, of like, oh, they're too stubborn and have their own idea. It's like, mate, that's a massive turn on to me as a coach. Like initially, I know obviously there'd be a lot of wrinkles getting the social aspects working, and maybe they go too far with it. But like that's actually to me a positive. It's all how you channel it at that point. So like I feel as though that's like an area in the game where obviously NA, a lot of the NA junglers that have come up over the years, that's one of the things that people say about them. It's one of the complaints. I'm kind of a hardliner. I think it's a mistake to pick up the people who are a bit quiet in that role.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake, and I think at Worlds, what helped a lot is like Ryu and Andy's relationship was good, and Ryu's a really loud person, and he's comfortable always going first, so their synergy worked really well. And then plugging in like Huhi was like a more social guy, but he's not like a boss. Like do this now, like Ryu was. So with Huhi and Andy, it became like two really nice people trying to conduct. Like, hey, you want to come mid now? Oh, you can come after that. Or do you want me to come mid now? Oh no, you can do this now. It's like they're being really like nice to each other when it's like someone has to be like a dick in that relationship to kind of like get things moving faster.
By the way, just because I'd forgotten about this for a while, because since I did Summon in Insight as like a throwback episode recently, right, it reminded me of a feature that I let go, sadly. There was a classic feature I used to have on the show. It was called Lily? Ryu did that? Because what I used to do was, right, collect all the ridiculous stories of when Ryu was in European teams. Because, you know, in European teams, they're raw as fuck. Like, the banter's ridiculous inside teams. Well, the thing is, I don't know if you know this, Loco, but Ryu basically is legendary in Europe for, like, ridiculous stories. Like, one where, like Yankos or someone, you know, I think, well, maybe it was, like, Lulex when they were at H2K. You know, he came back one day, and then, like, Ryu would just be like, get me water. Because, you know, remember, they come from, like, the Korean hierarchy and stuff. Like, he's like the fucking mob boss, isn't he? So he would just be doing mad shit like that. And then he would just be telling people ridiculous shit, you know, like, I play now, you know, but so as a result, I want to ask this basically. Do you have an update for me? Do you have like a story from when he was in 100 Thieves, perhaps? Has Ryu done any ridiculous shit along those lines? Because what I love about the stories, if you notice, is half the joke is what Ryu did, but half the rest of the joke is obviously the person who experiences it is like, what the fuck? Like, especially because they think Koreans are all going to be polite because they don't know it's like all together about the structure, you know, and he's the veteran in his mind, and he does think he's the final boss in that regard, you know.
No, he's toned it down a lot while he's been here, and it's like a kind of good, kind of bad thing. Because I mean, I like the funny stories, but yeah. So yeah, no really great updates. I'm sorry about that. I think the only one is like he's gotten lazier, so you have to do more things to get him to do something. So like, we need to like go out to dinner, and he's laying on the couch. Like you have to get him off the couch physically. Like you have to pull him and be his like wheelchair to get him out, and then he'll go to do something.
That's kind of like Professor X.
Yeah, he's pretty much just like, I'm gonna be here, and if you want to change my state of motion, like you're the one who has to change it. I'm not. He's like
some sort of fucking Egyptian pharaoh. They're just carrying him out on like a sofa, like four people.
That's pretty much everything.
And is still in the team just to fucking use the leaf on the side to keep him cool. He's like, more. No, here's the thing. One thing I want to ask actually, because you've had a bunch of Koreans now. You have the ones in Europe, Nokia and Che. You've obviously had Ryu, Someday, right? One thing I've always wondered about when they go to NA is, listen, I know there's Koreatown, and if you go with the right people, you can get Korean barbecue, and you can actually get most types of food there, Jim Dark, all of it, right? But one thing I wanted to ask was, I actually know from being in the open circuit with Koreans in League and StarCraft and other games that they fucking hate foreign food by default when they first start going to tournaments. Like they literally just want Korean food. They even don't, like, for people who are a little bit ignorant about this region, they can't even eat Chinese food. You might think it looks the same, but Chinese food is way greasier, a lot more oil. They like their rice like the fucking shit that's like got no liquid. It's all sticky and like no, like, so they like it like clean or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, right, I've never understood how they can go to teams where like every fucking week it used to be like Meteos, and they're like, lol, look at my massive like slop bowl of Chipotle with like all fucking sauce all over it and shit. Like, It's like, they surely can't be enjoying that. Isn't that like a mad culture shock for them?
Yeah, it makes going out to get food pretty hard, because they're really picky about what they like. But luckily, like, everyone is like pretty fine with like ramen and stuff like that, so we can go to like Sawtell and there's always like a bunch of choices. But usually it's some kind of like Korean or ramen when we like go out to eat. Like they'll go to us to like barbecue places and stuff like that and fried chicken places. But yeah, I'd say the eating situation is definitely pretty hard because they're not the biggest fan of burgers. Which, come on, who doesn't like a burger? But
I mean, Loco probably has fucking tofu burger out of choice. He's not even vegetarian.
No, I love In-N-Out. I
bet you fucking love In-N-Out, don't you? By the way, if you know English culture, I'll just leave that there. It's a fucking amazing quote. Take that quote right there. Everyone from the UK, that one's for you guys. That one's for you. Bit of the old In-Out. Clockwork Orange, anyone? Right, anyway, keep going. Keep going.
I'm sorry. Pr0lly.
So yeah, the food situation is a little difficult, but it's not really that bad because everyone is pretty accustomed to Korean barbecue and stuff like that. So
sure. Well, to be fair, Loco, the reason why the guests are different now is because now we can get all the people who hate you.
Pr0lly loves me. What the fuck? We get along great.
I love Loco.
Yeah, on camera.
He's the great.
Off camera, we get along even better.
We do?
I don't know
you don't...
I don't know about that. I've got a question for you before we go into the actual LCS players, which we'll transition to in a minute. I have a question, which is basically the same question I jokingly asked you when I met you at LCS like a few months back, where I said to you,
I got to meet Thorn in real life. That was great.
Oh, not bad, right? Well, the weird thing about that was
you didn't clean your clothes, right? I gave you a hug, and I think you weren't expecting it, but so you kept that shirt unclean, right?
Yeah, why not? Because the thing is, actually, believe it or not, people, this is one of those weird things. Even though I've had you on shows a whole bunch of times, we had actually only met once in life before, which was when I think I did that Reflections when you were in like Complexity or something, like ages ago, a long, long time ago. So it's one of those things where you forget actually when you talk to someone a whole bunch, like, oh, I actually once never met you in real life. So you forget to do the formal introduction, right? So the first thing I said to you, because this really was my thought when you came to NA, was, right, one of the things, Loco, about when Pr0lly was in Europe is I always actually had a lot of respect for his like understanding of the mid game, for example, how to set up the lanes. His teams nearly always had a very strong understanding of how to do side laning, etc. So I thought when he came to NA, right, dude, if you come from NA and then you go to Europe and you see that style and you see the strengths of the players and you have import players, I was like, why isn't your team the one that just 24/7 is just wrecking teams as split pushes? Which, by the way, we'll get into this later. Teams still do not know how to do. Like, Team Liquid doesn't know how to fucking 1-3-1 properly. But anyway, ignoring that, because to me, if you look at all the teams in the league, fucking FlyQuest, something, you tear these teams apart. They have no clue what to do if you do it properly. Because so many NA teams can't execute it. But it's the opposite. Your teams are always the ones that are like 40-minute macro game, slow, moving around the map as a group. Like, why did you never... am I just over exaggerating how successful that style would be or something? Is that not more in line with your philosophy of the game?
Well, I think one big part that will make it successful is your mid laner is better than their mid laner.
Right.
And your top laner is better than their top laner.
You've got to have someone who can always side lane, of course, yes.
Yeah. So I think the cases where you can't achieve those like goals, then the second thing you have to have is your laners have to be more confident in how to play macro. So if they're not completely better 1v1 individually, then the second thing that they have to have if you want to use that strategy is like they have to just be like macro confidence gods, where they're like, I'm going side, I'm going to make this guy do this, I'm going to make him do this, and then I'm going to leave. So if you have like any doubt or you don't have like the personal skill to get the advantage on your own or to be able to call it, then the strategy doesn't really like work that well. It doesn't become the best strategy. It's a strategy, but every other one is probably better where you're playing 4-1 and just pushing in and picking up sides.
I
think that's where a lot of NA is right now.
I'm not going to try and overstep bounds here, so I'll leave totally to do what you want to say. If you don't want it, you can skip it. But I also did hear, because here's the problem, right? I agree. If you look, you had Ryu. He's obviously not the best mid laner anymore. He doesn't even probably think of himself that way. Then you had Huhi. Like, these aren't going to be the players who'd be like, they're not like fucking Locodoco where you can just send him to a side lane. He's probably going to be the fucking winning in the side lane all day long. But you did have one player where to fans, they would think, well, this person would be perfect someday, right? But I have actually heard that is one of Sumday's few weaknesses, is that he's actually not that good basically at that exact concept. He's not that great at knowing kind of like how to do that in terms of like, because obviously you have to have a very keen sense of what the rest of the team's doing to coordinate it, right?
I think he's I'd say he's like 70%. Like, so it's not like really a strength, but I'd definitely say he's above average at it.
Okay.
Some days specifically. But I think with him, he has with his like confidence level. Actually, I think Ryu and Someday are pretty similar, where even if they aren't winning individually by themselves, I think Someday won a lot more than Ryu. But Ryu would be an example of a player who, like,
the mic if you're gonna eat your cunt.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's muted for the stream. My bad.
Right. Okay. Fair enough then. That's not that bad then. Keep going. That's the sort of show it is I'm afraid around here. Yeah. This is like dinner time, and I'm the dad who's just come home after like fucking 9 hours work. It's like if anyone does start giving me lip, you get a little clip.
I'm the mom that has to sit and like babysit kids and like just fucking clean the house, and their dad comes and then he just fucking sits on the couch and does nothing. Yeah,
and you're going to take that dick at the end of the night as well, because I pay the bills. Anyway, P0lly, wind that back, mate. Come on. What were you saying about Someday?
So Ryu is one of the ones who has a lot of confidence side lane. So even if he's not winning lane, he's going to be able to play side well. I'd say Someday has is the inverse of Ryu a bit, where he's able to get his individual advantage, and then side lane he's not as good as Ryu, but he's still a pretty strong side laner when he knows what to do. And I think a big thing that holds him back into being one of the ones where you're like, holy shit, this guy's insane. Like, who would you say is someone that's a top laner that you like admire for his side lane?
I mean, my most famous player of all time, Flame.
Flame? Okay, so I think
Flame in a side lane, he's gonna fucking eat up the game, mate.
Yeah. So one thing that a side laner that is like that is they have to be a little bit careless. And they have
to take risks. Like, obviously, you can't always know the jungler's there or not, can you? Like, sometimes you're going to look like an idiot and die, but you know that, like, if you get away with it 2 out of 3 times, you are winning on the odds, you know? Yeah,
so I think, especially with Someday, a problem he had is, like, if he's winning 2 out of the 3 times, like, he's not super comfortable yet. So he's going to pressure, so it's, like, still a really smart play, and he's going to, like, take all the side camps until...
Is he a bit more conservative?
Yeah, until he's, like, 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 5, he'll win those. And then he starts playing that way. But for him, it takes a while before he's like comfortable playing that really risky style. And if he's like 1-0 or he's like 0-2 or something, so he's like either slightly ahead or he's like slightly behind, it'll take a while for him to start taking those risks, because he wants to build up the confidence for him to do that. So maybe that's why you don't see like he's just taking over the game with 1 kill. It's like he'll get a kill, then he'll like build that slowly, and then once he hits a critical mass, which is just like something in his head where he's like, okay, this is the time where no one can stop me, and then he'll start playing this like really, really aggressive, and it doesn't become risky anymore, because if someone comes, he's so confident he can outplay the 2v2, he'll actually take those 2v or 1v2s. He'll take those 1v2s and be able to succeed really well.
Okay.
But it definitely, there's like a ramp up for him, and that was kind of like a issue with our strategy trying to do it, where it's like, if we're playing these 1-3-1s and we fall behind, like we need to start taking risks in sides, or else like any 4-1 comp is just going to crush. So we need to be, someone has to be the carrot, like, hey, come over here, guys. And then we pressure the other side.
Yes.
And if we were behind from early game or something like that, that strategy wouldn't work unless side lanes are taking these risks early. So if we got behind early playing like a 1-3-1, we would like crumble really quickly because we wouldn't take many risks. We'd play that kind of slowly.
By the way, before we just transition into the matches themselves and make this less about 100 Thieves, just one last topic I had along, because Loco can obviously throw in any last question he has, would be, what do you think of that? Because it's that concept of how the meta can be totally different to what you expect, and obviously how the game itself can be changed, like literally in terms of like aspects of the game. I think that is one of the things that makes it so difficult to be anyone in kind of a general manager role who picks up the players, because it would literally be like if I was building my basketball team and then after I signed the players, someone tells me something like, oh, the basket's at a different height now, or the fucking court's twice as big. Like, then I'm like, fuck, I picked a player who's old and slow. Like, I thought we were going to play a half-court game. Yeah. Or what, now I've got a guy who can't dunk anymore and I've got a shot, like, that would be outrageous in sports. But that is just life in games which are patched continuously and crucially in league between seasons. They obviously sometimes, like Jungle Roll most famously, redo it entirely and completely drastically change the game. So, like, this must be a massive challenge when you're then looking for players to pick up.
Yeah, for roster construction, obviously, like, I haven't got it down to a science. And that's a big issue is like when this off season comes, like we have a better idea now than we did 2 years ago about what the changes are going to look like. Like Riot's done a better job of including the professional teams.
Oh, right. They actually give you some sort of update or something.
Like a little bit, like obviously it's like...
Wasn't it something like they encouraged people basically, like if you go into the PBE or whatever it's called, like, that'll always be X patches ahead and you'll get like is it something like that?
Oh, this is like this is not on PBE or anything. This is like
even further back, right? That's cool.
Yeah, because everything on PBE is like, we can read it and see it and learn it, and it's like not a big deal. This is more like drastic gameplay changes, and obviously, like it's very like in the infantile state, so we don't know where it's going to be, but it's like at least an insight into what the game is going to be looking like or what they're trying to plan for. Because I think maybe I would have thought different about roster construction if I knew the goal of the turret platings would end up being more lane focused stuff.
Well, as you said, the first play you'd pick really if you had that would be like beast mid laner, right?
Wait.
Yeah.
Whereas you obviously invested your money elsewhere in terms of who you got the big names.
Even Riot didn't know it would be like this, right? It's like people are taking turrets way too fucking easily when they die. So we want to make sure the turrets don't go down when you die, so you can scale into late game. So we made turrets more protected, but you can still get gold if you're ahead in lane. That's what Riot said. Riot's goal wasn't make it more early game focused. They wanted to add more variance. And they wanted to add more variety, not variance, about what kind of champions can be played. And it went the exact opposite way of what they actually wanted.
Well, I can't remember, but for a while, like, plates did not give gold. Like, maybe it was before it was even live. But I remember when the plates first came out, like, I remember reading, like, it's just plates on turrets. There's no benefit to taking them other than, like, the turret's health goes down. So, like, that was one of the things I think I wasn't really super, like, looped in on, but... I think that makes the game really hard because let's invest in a super huge bot lane, and then summer patch last year was pretty infamous where they just took 80 carries out of the game. So it's like all these teams who who made these roster changes in between spring and summer might have just gotten completely screwed. So the way that they dynamically change the game, I think they need to be letting teams and players know ahead of time. This one actually was weird because we were one of the only teams that participated in this. Like with Riot.
Is it like a choice thing, or did they just?
It was like an option, like, hey, we're gonna release some unreleased content for you guys to come see if you guys want to like test it out or see it firsthand. And we were like one of the only teams that wanted to do it. And I thought that was like, how is not every team like? Shouldn't every team be like, yes, I want to know what you're fucking doing with this game?
Well, Reggie was probably like, I don't need to know. I've got this roster building thing nailed. Watch this. Hold my tears.
Wait, what was the timing?
No one can predict the changes for sure.
What was the timing, Neil? Like for you guys to test? Like timing in terms of like when during the season? Day. When during the season though?
Oh, when during the season?
I'm assuming preseason.
Oh, it was during Rift Rivals break.
During Rift Rivals break? Okay. Maybe
it was during the Rift Rivals break.
Maybe you guys were the only ones without scrims. Everyone else was scrimming.
No.
Okay. He's trying to find whatever. Just let it
go. Something else, Loco. Nice try, though.
By the way, I appreciate that he called you Neil there to make it, again, stress that he knows you as a close personal friend.
We're best friends.
Listen, Yun Sop.
What up, Duncan?
Or except you call it Yun Shop, right? How do you say your own name?
Yun Sop.
There you go. Not bad. Yun Sop. Yun Sop.
Let's go to semifinals, Duncan.
Yeah. I told you, Loco, listen, to me, you're American, mate. Yeah. Because the day you want to start being Korean, start throwing out that hyung, mate. Yeah. I'll be taking that all day long. You'll be my little dongsan. So anytime you want to show me that respect, motherfucker, we can get all Korean.
I show you respect all the time. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
I show you respect. Oh my god, Mr. Shields, can we go talk about semis, please?
Yeah, okay. There we go.
You need to ask permission from your other hyung, though.
Yeah, come on, be polite.
Mr. Hamad, can we go talk about semis also?
Nah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. That was my joke around with Ashley, the Korean horse. The Korean horse sell time. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Let's skip forwards. So,
right.
in the playoffs, the most interesting series obviously ended up being the fucking Team Liquid versus Clutch one, inexplicably. Whereas actually on paper, the C9 versus CLG one was supposed to be the banger. That was supposed to be the 5-game series, interesting clash of styles and stuff. Right, so let's start, I guess. We'll get the C9 CLG one out of the way first, then we can dive into the other one more. Right? Let's set this up. So when I talked before about like styles in NA, etc., and obviously NA as a region gets banged on a lot because it does just like the joke is like everyone just NA rams and it's just like the games become like that over and over again. And the problem is even if both teams don't do that, one team draws the other one into it and then it just becomes stupid fights around Baron half the time. But one thing I have to say, one of the reasons I actually said I was up for Weldon Green winning Coach of the Split is CLG wasn't like that actually as a team. Like the amount of actual like growth they showed stylistically, I thought was really good. Like I've seen them 1-3-1 properly, like using actual proper side pressure repeatedly and win games and properly close them out. And for a team with some rookie elements in it, looked fairly clean at times. So what were your thoughts of CLG? Because obviously they were a team where they were gunning actually for a top seed themselves and could potentially have been one of the teams with a bye. So what do you think of CLG this split and coming into playoffs?
I mean, I think I voted for, Weldon Irene combo. I think they did a really good job with CLG. Like, I'd say probably the most growth, I would say, from any other team. So yeah, going into the match, I had higher hopes. I thought it would be closer or like more competitive fighting. And I think that's because I forgot how good C9 was because they were using like Kumo and Blabber for so much. Yes. So like during those off times, like C9, like the name kept just like falling out of favor. And then when they finally like put their original starting roster, I was like, oh yeah, this team is like fucking unstoppable. So it made a lot of sense. Like after the fact, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot C9 with Licorice and Svenskerin's a lot stronger. But honestly, I think draft-wise, CLG did not like learn the meta fast enough. So I think they just didn't have good picks and they didn't really get to play their style very well. Okay, I think they have. Do they have one range support game? And usually they have their big advantages come from bot doing something.
They had 2 games of Tom Kench, and then they had Rakan.
Oh, Tom Kench.
And the Rakan, and then the last game was Morgana even. So
yeah. Oh, so they did get one more game. But yeah, like the Varus Tom, I think like maybe TL thought that was a good one too. So I saw them play the Varus Tom as well. So I think maybe some teams just like in scrims, like Varus Tom was just shitting in lane, and then the game's just over by 20 minutes. So they're like, wow, Varus Tom's broken, can't counter it. But I think that was a mistake from like TL. I think fell into that trap, and I think CLG did too, twice. I think.
So my take on the draft is a little bit different. I think I actually agree with you that C9 smashed it. It's just they made CLG so uncomfortable. Banning Corki Azir and making the mid lane meta a little bit more volatile. I think Corki Azir are the best control mage picks, and that's what Pr0lly's great on. And Niski's shown so much prowess on champions like Yasuo, and then the other champions he played, Kiana and all that. Like when the matchup opened up like that, it was just Niski looked like the best player on the server along with Svenskeren, and I think banning Corki Azir really allowed that. And then the third ban they did, they kept banning Camille and first picking Aatrox, and CLG didn't really have an answer. Like their answer to Aatrox first pick was Camille Sejuani, and beyond that, when they don't have the Camille, like they just couldn't answer the Aatrox first pick in a productive way. And then the other thing that really fucked them in draft was on purple side, they kept the Corki Azir ban and then they did Yuumi, so the obvious first pick becomes Akali. And CLG is just not a very good Akali team. Ruin isn't the best Akali in the world, and also Pr0lly cannot play Akali. So I thought they were just getting smacked upside down in draft.
Actually, I have a question for both of you along those lines, because that's something that in the last few weeks, actually, that Veteran always harps on, is that he thinks that at the moment, Aatrox is actually like sleeper OP, because fans don't talk about it as something broken, because fans still believe that, because Riot said they nerfed it by taking out the ult. Like, in a sense, that didn't actually nerf it, because in lane, 1v1, it actually made it better in some regards. So, because obviously you have to get the kill to do it right. So it's like, well, that doesn't really change much at all. Team fights, yeah, maybe. But he basically thinks that, like, it's a champion that basically you should blind pick. Like, it almost doesn't have bad matchups, especially in a world where, remember, here's another thing that's different about League now. In Season 9, you flex between mid and top. In fact, you sometimes even send the top laner top if you want to get the different matchups. So you can't as directly get those counter picks as you used to back in the day when mid lane in Europe was just who gets the counter pick at the end, you know.
I mean, I don't think it's sleeper OP. I think it's just straight up OP. I think everyone knows it by now. Like, it's OP because it's the best blind by far. Like, you could beat it. You know, like Fiora can do stuff, Jax can do stuff with help.
Camille.
But even then, you're forcing them down a certain path by trying to beat it, right?
Yeah, even Camille has it. But all the picks into Aatrox that are successful is like you have to do something with that lane to beat the Aatrox. You can't just, I'm going to pick this as a counter and leave it alone and we win this lane now. Which is a lot of picks you can do that with. Like Aatrox is one that's like, yeah, if you want to counter pick it, like you also need like jungle pressure or mid to roam up, or else Aatrox is going to like free farm, do well, and then do team fights really well. So he has a really hard to punish champion, and he has like pop off potential, like snowball potential. Like he's good with resources. He's actually pretty fine on like endure side as well. Like he's pretty hard to deal with. So yeah, I think he's just straight up pretty broken champion that everyone should be playing and picking as fast as possible. I think the Camille ban is like okay-ish.
It's really good for CLG because that's been their go-to. Give them Aatrox, pick Camille Sejuani, and play towards that lane. So,
you are leaning away from the mic, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just specifically for CLG. I thought it was really good, not just in general.
I'm gonna say against CLG, I think the Azir Corki was the most punishing because Niski, Svenskeren are a really good duo together, and they can play volatile matchups well. And all of PoE's champion pool outside of Azir Corki is Ori, Syndra, Karma. Like he's played Aurelia a little bit.
He played one game of Aurelia the entire year.
Victor,
it's all off.
Like if you play, Victor, Syndra, Ori, Karma, and then his Aurelia game. So all 5 of those champions, if they go toe to toe with an assassin, he needs jungle help because he can't do it by himself. And if they don't have good mid jungle synergy, which they're okay, but it's not really good. It's mostly like I'm farming on by Ori, and once I hit 6, you can play with me. Or once I get blue buff, like I can pressure mid. You know, that's usually what I assume their communication is like. Well, so once C9 put it in like a we're gonna fight mid matchup, I was like, this is really favored to C9.
The flaw as well for me in this matchup, I even said this coming in, is like I just wish CLG had played a different team. Even if it was CLG Team Liquid, I would have been more interested. Because if you just look at the style, the strengths of these teams, like you say, for CLG to win, they want their mid and fucking jungle to have a really good series, good picks, great, hopefully directly winning the game. And the players you're playing against is the 2 best players on Cloud9 of the fucking mid and jungle. In fact, people literally have Svenskeren as like the MVP candidate of the fucking split. And then, in fact, I would even make a case he probably should win it. And then for mid lane, Niski has absolutely been ranked one of the top players, unless you're Loco about 5 weeks ago.
Also, Niski becomes even better when you start taking away Corki Azir. I think that's where Niski shines so much. And then just getting those 2 out of the pool and making it more about skirmishing made Niski such a better player. And I think there's even an argument for Niski Svenskeren being the better jungle 2v2 duo in the entire league. Like, even above Svenskeren.
Yeah, they are.
I think that obviously they play super heavily around Jensen and Team Liquid, is it? Yeah. So I think that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah. Like, even like C9 doesn't play like only around mid or something where it's like they're, their synergies are great because they only can't mid. It's like, no, it's just when he has a window, they always use it really well with Sven. Like, pretty much. And I think one more thing about the Aatrox thing, I think Niski's the only mid laner who's actually good at Aatrox. I think every mid laner can like play Aatrox, but I think Niski's like the only one. And I think they practiced some matchups. That's just like my hunch. In case there's like a hard counter pick, they can just throw a mid, but I don't think anyone has a hard counter pick into Aatrox yet.
By the way, this is also why teams will always fall into this trap for some reason. So when the paradigm becomes set, for people who don't understand what the concept of that word is, by the way, it doesn't just mean like the way people think. It's like the concept of like there's a structure of thinking that when you subscribe to, you can get trapped in it. You think that's the only way the world works, basically. Like a political word for you would be a great example, right? When people start thinking in that way, it's hard for them to see other people's perspective. So the reason why I say it's a paradigm in the sense of how people talked is people then acted as though that was just reality and nothing could change. So people were complaining all summer like, oh, it's so boring. Mid lane's just like a Zay Corki every game. And it's like, yeah, but it never, first of all, it was never only that. That's just what people chose as the safe picks on stage and what were contested. Well, guess what? The teams who heavily played around that and thought that is all it is will be shit out of luck if someone actually takes a gamble like Reaper did here in the draft, which, as you pointed out, for his team wasn't even that much of a gamble, which is why he had the luxury to do it. But if you then do that, you're going to be in a fucking tough spot if you spent all year thinking this is what you're going to be playing in the playoffs to get yourself to Worlds.
And honestly, like, all right, so let's go back 1 week and let's tell CLG, like, hey, they're going to ban Azir Corki. You know what CLG has to do to practice that? Is now in scrims, they have to ban Azir Corki to simulate a draft that's going to be similar. And their drafts are going to suck.
Yes.
Because everyone they're playing against is like drafting for themselves.
Exactly.
And then they're like, what the hell? They're banning Azir Corki on red and blue side. Like, we can first pick Yumi, we can first pick Sona, we can first pick like we do whatever the hell we want. So
this is the angle, by the way, that people don't realize how big a deal it was to take sister teams away from the Koreans, because it's not that you can't get scrims. You can, like, obviously TSM and Cloud9 were super friendly. They came from the same org, so as a result, yeah, they were great mates. But when you scrim someone else, you're scrimming for yourself. You're trying to make yourself better. Your team. You don't give a fuck really what that guy wants. Maybe if you're really close friends as coaches, you might agree to give them like one game where it's like, okay, we'll do something vaguely that you guys like. But it's not the same as if you have a sister team and you can just tell them, you're going to do this draft, I'm going to do this draft, and we're going to play the game out. That's such a great advantage to have. I can totally see why they took that away and why it was a big deal as well.
Yeah, even us, like when we try to force it a bit in scrims, like, I mean, easy examples, like we'll ban, like, you know, we ban Corki a lot, or we ban Xayah a lot, because we expected those to just be banned from us. We ban Sedge a lot, stuff like that. But it made scrims really hard because the other team has like a sick draft every game, because we're just like banning all of our shit because we need to practice new things. So there's no point in playing against our own champions. And yeah, it got really hard. So being able to have someone that you can scrim and actually like cater that would be a good way. Because even now, yeah, I'm thinking back, if CLG knew this a week ago, I don't know if they would be able to prepare in time to get enough practice, like playing different mid matchups and dealing with all the power picks that are getting to the draft.
When C9 lost Game 3 in the way they did, where they had the win at the Nexus and they just Jazel black shielded Aatrox instead of black shielding Sneaky, and they lost that game. And then Game 4, CLG was getting dives. Did you guys think for a second that CLG was going to win? And did you guys think C9 was going to crack?
Oh, I didn't see that part.
I mean, I thought CLG would win the game, but I didn't think they would like win the series or something. Like, the problem is, if you're C9, you have to do a lot more to crack my entire mentality than win one close game against me. Like, to me, to crush me, if I'm C9, you probably have to win the first 2 games, maybe even stomp one, maybe get like a bad lane and winning that. Like, things like that are what crush you. Like, for example, it didn't end up mattering, and we'll talk about it later. But obviously, like, if you play out the first 10 minutes of Game 5 of Team Liquid Clutch Gaming, yeah, I'm mad depressed if I'm Clutch Gaming after that, because it's like, fuck, the whole concept was I had to be leading now and dominate the game. I'm shitting it, like, but that's not going to affect the series because it's the 5th game, you know. Like, I don't think it'd be that catastrophic. If anything, it's CLG that probably could have got pumped off of it and believed, like, oh, look, we can do it. It's possible, but sadly, I don't think it ever was possible. And I have to say as well, I'll even throw that in. I told you coming in, one area that unfortunately I always had to remain skeptical about CLG was, you look at who they have in their team.
Wiggly.
Right? Wiggly's like basically a rookie. Like, I know technically he's played a lot more than a split now, but he's basically a rookie, and he's a rookie to playoff scenarios anyway. Then Ruin is just someone who hasn't been in a top region for a long time, and even when he was in Europe, didn't play on top teams. And then who are the rest of your players? Like, fairly quiet players. Like, I've made the point before, my problem with CLG is I don't think they have like a true superstar. Like, I think Power of Evil's pretty good. He'll always be above average, but I don't think he's like a Jensen Bjergsen type player who can take over the game and put it this way, if Power of Evil goes head-to-head with the Koreans, I'm not thinking Power of Evil's going to win out and show like Europe's the fucking god mid-region. Like, I'll take different players for that angle. So my problem in this scenario was, if any of these factors failed, I would have seen CLG immediately not become this team that's super clean and knows when to be proactive. Because what I found interesting in the split was, this is why I felt like they were a very well-coached team. They weren't a team that was actually trying to abuse all the openings in the game like a lot of the teams that are at the top do at the moment. They were a team that would just look for the right spots where they were like, right, there's a logical position where we could make a play here. We could push this lane, and they just did it correctly. They just did it by the book, as you'd want like a squad. Don't take too many risks if you're more inexperienced, but let's just do it this way. Well, the downside of that is, Like, there's so many ways that can go wrong when you're in the playoff setting because you can't really fully prep for the feeling of being in that moment, you know? You might have all the great ideas in your head before, but this is the thing I always tell people. It's a very weird concept to understand because unless you're in this scenario, you'll never really understand what I mean. But basically, if you are in an official live stage game, you don't have full access even to all of your brain if you're a rookie. Like, you might actually get in a scenario where, like, you like, first of all, you have the sensation that you're on camera. People are looking at you. I am in public now. I'm not just playing a game in a room now at this point in time. I'm thinking of other factors. Oh, people are going to think about how I've misplayed that, or fuck, like I'm behind. Like, obviously, the most obvious role this affects with them is jungle. Look at any rookie jungle when they go in a playoff setting. They don't make those fucking aggro plays they do before. They don't play to the limits of the champion and try the balls deep, flash level 3 gank under the tower where you get out with Tensia, because they know if they fuck that up and they die, I'm going to feel like I've thrown the whole game already. It's going to feel like game over, you know, like to mentally reset in that scenario is so difficult. So I already was worried for CLG that, like, basically their strengths would be harder to execute for like a team that, like, what they've got basically.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, yeah, they don't have any superstars, and definitely why I thought like Weldon and Irene did such a good job. Because yeah, on paper, if you look at that team, you're like, cool, this team.
The idea that team could almost come second is bonkers to me.
Yeah, so I thought they did like really well. But I think a big part of their success was like Wiggly. Like, I thought Wiggly was playing like a monster during regular season. So him coming in as like the rookie into playoffs, like I actually wasn't too worried about him. Like, he was actually like spring, like really not good. But from summer week 1, like, dude, he's a really, really solid jungler now. So for coming into playoffs, I thought like I was kind of looking at him to be the big catalyst for how early game went for CLG. And then I thought CLG bot lane got a lot better, but I don't think they showed it very much in that series.
Because if you remember, Loco, that was a point you made where you said, like, you know, Wiggly's never been in playoffs, etc. Like, you know, how can you know how he'll perform, etc. The problem is, I agree with Pr0lly. Like, he just looked so solid in the split. It was like, maybe he'll be one of those ones that makes it. Now, I won't say
you're
like,
betting on an
choke.
exception. You're betting on an exception when you say
I
that.
won't say outright choke, but I do think he was underwhelming, though. Now, he was against Sven Skaren, but even so, I thought he was underwhelming in the series.
But yeah, for Wiggly, why like I rate him really high is like it wasn't like 1 week or 2 week, or it wasn't only because their team was on a win streak. Like, he was playing really well for like 9 weeks straight. Like, that's a pretty rare characteristic to have.
And
so, like,
to tie into the earlier thing, supposedly he is involved in the shot calling components as well. So that's a great sign when you hear that.
Yeah, so I do think he underperformed for sure in the C9 series.
Sure.
CLG.
I mean, obviously not like TSM jungler levels, you know, competent player still, but, you know.
Also, drafts just weren't great for CLG, for Wiggly to do stuff. A lot of Tom Kench games, a lot of control mage games. Top lane on a carry he's kind of uncomfortable with. Not the greatest Akali player in the world, not the greatest GP player in the world. He just didn't have a lot of avenues where he could gank. So just every situation made it so Wiggly was going to be bad. So I'm still high on Wiggly.
By the way, everyone, you know what? I made a tweet a while ago where, and this was just one of those tweets where I'm just giving a contrast. Like, look how weird this is, basically. It's an observation. So my observation was like, what a clown region NA is. Like, Ruin plays for a top team as a starter. Someday is on an academy team. Now, I know there's extenuating circumstances. Like, in your team, you only have so many import slots and you can't have Ryu and someday, you know, like, there's other reasons. But my point there is, if you know the context of these two players' careers and they're both Korean, that is ridiculous. Like, someone back in Korea would even be like, what the fuck? How? But here's the thing, right? When I did that Loco, everyone flamed me. And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Ruin has been one of the best top... You were even saying it. They were all going, mate, he was fucking Garbo in this series. What are you talking about? He is an okay player at best. I told you, his whole job is, like, he wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror. Am I Darshan? No. Cool. Done my job. And then every now and then, playing the most fucking broken carry champions, he might get some kills in the game. How many of you fans are ever going to figure out that the person who gets the kill and whose name shows on the screen didn't necessarily... It's not Street Fighter. They're not 1v1. Like, you can fucking last tier champion and get the kill. Like, the score really means fuck all unless you know the context of the game. It's not like basketball where you can look at the box score and go, fucking hell, 40 points went off, didn't he? It's like, no, in this game, you could actually even be a player who played badly and have a decent scoreline if your team wins, you know.
Duncan, I was one of the people that said initially when Ruin's doing well, I said, I think Ruin's overrated because he's replacing Darshan, and Darshan was a black hole for CLG.
Okay.
And the thing he's doing is not being Darshan.
Fair enough. Maybe I misremember. I thought you tweeted me, though.
I thought... You just... Oh my god, you just make stupid. This is actual strawman. Like, you fucking put words in my mouth. And also, when Ruin got third place for All Pro, I was one of the people that said, why the fuck did he get third pro? Like, this just makes no sense. I was never, like, high on Ruin.
Fuck a lot of that All Pro voting as well. Some bullshit in there. Then again, though, wait a minute.
What?
Wait a minute.
I didn't vote. If you're trying to look up my votes, I didn't get to vote.
No, I remember a certain person called Neil Hammond who made some very weird.
It's Hamoud.
Hamoud. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. I won't make the obvious joke there because 2019. I want to stay alive. So listen, there's a lot of ways that could have gone there. So we'll just leave that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Wait, what did I vote for?
That's what I'm going to look up now because here's the thing. I remember seeing you had some interesting ones. Like, I believe, I'm going to look this up, but I believe you were one of the people who, didn't you have something mental? Like, didn't you pick Bjergsen really highly or something?
I did.
It's not mental.
I'm pretty sure I like Niski and Crown up pretty high.
Let me double check. I'll find which one the weird one is because there was one that was funny that I think was your name. So I'm going to double check if I can find it. Let's see.
He was funny. You only remember the like bad things.
No, I'm a con.
Like,
I even said
in your memory, you're like,
I even said as a joke, but I also meant it. Is when they do the All Pro, I on the one hand really appreciate. Like, I'm being serious right now. I actually really appreciate that Riot released the ballots and show you who voted for who. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like famously when Bjergsen won the MVP over Doublelift when they were both in TSM, I like that I could go and see which people actually thought Doublelift was, because remember famously like Bjergsen got 17 first place votes, but Doublelift got 13. So I want to see, right, this is interesting. Who breaks down the game what ways? That's cool. But I will say the main reason to do it is the same reason why people look at power rankings. You don't look at it for the ones that you think are right and are good. You look at it and go, this idiot put this one number 7 when he's clearly number 9. You fucking idiot. You know nothing about the game. You should be like, you do it because it gets everyone hyped, you know. So I have to admit, the first thing I do with these split awards is go, that's a shame they've all voted people I thought were good. Who the fuck is this? And then I start figuring out theories like, he's Korean, this little biased little cunt, always over here. Like, you know, I start doing that basically. So I'm going to look it up now. I've got it now. Let me have a look at it.
All right.
Let's just zoom in.
Yeah, show me my bias.
Right, where is it?
Just look at the bad in the world. That's why you're so angsty all the time.
Pr0lly. Where's Oh, here we go. Right, Pr0lly voted. Yeah, Pr0lly voted Ruin the second All-Pro top laner in the league.
Nice. Hey, this is before playoffs. Wait, hold on.
That means he put him up. Then again, he put third solo. So
yeah, no, I thought Solo played well.
He got benched by his own team. I know what you mean. He did.
But I think
he did.
Yeah,
I
think
he pretty good.
Yeah, my just when I see him put in and then take out, I'm like, all right, his.
So you thought Ruin was better than Licorice?
No.
Licorice is not there, mate. You put Impact as number 1.
I put Impact as number 1?
Wait, you would have not put Impact?
I don't even have Licorice on there? All right. I was just super drunk and wasted when I did that.
All the legal ones. Yeah.
all the legal things. That's
I found it. You motherfucker. I found you. I've caught you. You're done. It's over for you. Right? So you had Crown number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But Jensen number 3. Oh, no, it's nice and bad, I guess. I guess Niski's reasonable. What was the one that was ridiculous, though? I mean, you did have Cody Sun, third ADC, but whatever. I mean...
What? He's playing well during regular season.
He was pretty good.
What 80 carries are playing that well? I thought Cody did well.
It's like...
Oh, I found it. Right. For some reason, you had Stixie as your second All-Pro AD carry.
If I voted, I would have put Stixie second also. Who would you put? After Doublelift, there's a Chasm.
Yeah.
After Doublelift, there is no one.
Let me have a look. If there's anyone I could pick.
Just no one stands out that much, so...
It's not a good role in any, I will say. It's pretty fucking bad in that regard.
Because really, like, a lot of the votes, at least for me, are like, when I'm drafting against this team or playing against them, like, these are the players I worry about. And I guess, I haven't played against Licorice. I don't know. I can't remember why.
Actually, I guess you're right. To be fair, like, AD carry not only has been, like, literally subbed out for half the teams this split, but it's, like, pretty thin on the ground generally, if you look, because it's actually the weakest lane for most teams, to be fair. Maybe that's not as terrible then.
The big names in Zben and Bang didn't do that well, so after 1, it's actually nothing. There's nothing. It's like Stixie, Cody, Sun. And Doublelift is apparently in Uzi form right now, so he has to get first.
Yep. Sure.
Solid meme though. Decent meme work, wasn't it?
It was good.
Anyway, whatever. We'll put that aside. Yours weren't as crazy as them. Maybe I took the one of Ruin and just thought all yours were crazy. The rest are reasonable actually, somewhat.
Not having Licorice up there is pretty dramatic though. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I just thought he was like subbed out forever, or I just don't even know why he's not.
Just want to again reiterate. Kane, winner of Coach of the Split, Locodoco, picked Froggen All-Pro first mid laner.
He's trolling.
No, he's Coach of the Split.
He's
trolling. About all the rest of his picks are serious.
He's fucking trolling.
Actually, wait a minute. No, you're right. He picked Bang as his bottom. Right, I take that back. That was obviously ludicrous. He did. He actually. Yeah, you're right. He picked Ruin as his number one. You motherfucker.
What?
He was trolling me. He trolled me. Why is he? Oh, why haven't we fallen for that?
Dude, oh my god. It's so.
He picked Ruin. Why have I fallen for that?
It's so sad. Because Kane shouldn't troll. Because Kane is the fucking. He won Coach of the Split. So if you're winning Coach of the Split and you troll vote, you fucking downgrade yourself. You like make your own award ingenuine. Like I have no reason why a Coach of the Split candidate would troll vote. It's one of the dumbest things you can do.
I'll tell you what's hilarious though. I'll just say this one. Here's one of the. We won't talk about this too much more. We'll talk about the rest of the games. But one of the ones that I will point out that is absolutely fucking ludicrous is let's see. Arrow from Optic Gaming picked as his All-Pro first top laner Broken Blade. Does Broken Blade just share his food with you or something? What the fuck are you doing? Why would that ever make sense? Did he protect you in prison? What are you talking about?
Broken Blade's got to be like shitting on Dokla in scrims or something.
That's true.
Every time they scrim, they're like, TSM, we can't play them.
He does play with Dokla, so his relative judgment on top laners is absolutely skewed as fuck, isn't it?
I think some people blatantly troll, because Arrow also put Sneaky first, according to chat.
Oh, they're probably just trolling then, yeah. Oh, he did, yeah. Oh, this motherfucker, they're trolling. Yeah, what they do, as far as I can tell, is they troll, and then the only ones they pick seriously is sometimes they'll pick, if they're a Korean, they'll pick a Korean friend of theirs as the serious one. Like, because, apparently that would be rude to pick them as a stupid pick.
Was Ryu number one mid for Arrow?
Who was number one? No, actually, Arrow picked Niski. That was one of the few serious ones he did. One of the few serious. No one actually picked Ryu, believe it or not. I don't even know if he got on the whole thing. I doubt it. I don't think he played enough, did he? Didn't he only play like half the split or something?
Dude, oh my god. I can't stress to players, when you take this as a joke, like you make the league a joke, you make these awards a joke. Like these awards are like way to award players that haven't like finished the best in the split or like that are on shitty teams that are doing well, and you make it a joke for yourself also. Next time you're on a shitty team and you're overperforming, you might not get credit. And Arrow, you also won MVP, like, and that was an award you were proud of, and you argued with TSM fans about not my MVP thing, like, and you're trolling the votes. Like, I'm just like, what the fuck,
especially
guys?
Because
there's
remember,
things to troll about and things to not troll about.
You'll see it on the ballot. You do have an option to decline to vote. So if you don't want to, if you don't really like, here's the thing, right? I'll go even further, Loco. Let's say you're a player though who's like, but Loco, I just don't watch the league much. Like I just play the game, and I only know people from our scrims. I honestly don't know. That's the answer. Just don't decline to vote then, because the key thing is, and this is the key point to make, your vote does affect things. If enough people troll, and like it's getting better now, but when the first ones came out, NA was ridiculous. There was a lot of troll voting, or just only voting for your ex-teammates and shit like that as all pro, And because the best one ever I remember was when people would spite not vote double if at all as AD carry in top 3 positions. It's like that. Those are ones that are egregious, In that scenario, you are fucking with history. Like, you might be the person who tips it so that now someone doesn't win an award. But as we say, like, Loco's totally right. The whole purpose of All Pro is to celebrate the players who maybe don't even make the playoffs. Like, say, like, they did this split, but say Optic had not made the playoffs again because we're in the tiebreaker. Crown absolutely should have been on the top 3 here. So this is a way to celebrate him and say, you know what, Crown, your team didn't make it, but you had a great split. Here we go. We acknowledge you. All your peers are telling you were still a top player. That's a pretty cool angle, I think.
And it's also coming from potential winners or people that won before, like Kane and Arrow. Like, Kane, you or a potential Coach of the Split winner. Maybe Kane got so fed up with not winning it, he's like, fuck this. All these awards are a joke, so I'm going to joke vote. And this is
like that one. Exactly.
And then, but
the Arrow one's ridiculous, though, because Arrow, you shouldn't ever have even won a fucking award, mate. You're just the number 1 check stealer of all time. There's your fucking award. I don't know how you're getting any of that shit, but anyway.
I think Arrow did have an amazing split that time, but Arrow, you won that award. Like, afterwards, like, you have to show respect towards it. Like, he argued about the MVP part, so I don't know. It was just ridiculous to the people that troll voted. Just don't vote if you're going to troll vote. That's completely an option, and it takes less effort to not vote. Just say, I don't want to be the one voting.
Anyway, let's go on and do the other series. Right. So coming in, this was an example of a series where the expectations uniformly were, like, put it this way, Pr0lly. Most people I know said Team Liquid wins all 3 games. It's just a 3-0. Some people who were really heavily up on Clutch thought they might win a game. Like, I didn't know anyone who said Clutch could win, or it would be 3-2, or they'd having chances. Like, what were your thoughts coming in?
Yeah, I thought it'd be pretty close. Or sorry. I thought it would not be close.
There we go.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a pretty clean sweep. I think Jensen just plays better. I mean, Impact is like, he's dealt with Huni for years, and then they just play around bot, which is like, Cody Sun's weakness is playing aggressively bot, and then Team Liquid's strength is playing aggressively bot. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be pretty simple. They're pretty quick games. But then I think honestly, like I don't like putting that much pressure on draft, but I think draft was really poor for TL and their losses. And pretty sure the only reason they gave, like, CG can play a few comps and champions well, and then outside of those comps or champions, they don't have a style or like a really solid game plan. It's like really feeling based play. So they kept getting like their 1 or 2 comps that they could play, and then when they didn't, they lost and stuff like that. But I think those are the pretty big ones. And then I think, I don't know, TL drafted some like really weird bot lanes when that's like their biggest win condition a lot of the time. So I thought, the bot lane picks were kind of weird. And then I think they just didn't scrim CG. Honestly, TL has the pick of the litter for scrims, and I'm fairly certain they just never scrim CG.
And they look sometimes in the split like they fought it in anyway, but they still just win because they're the best. So, it's not as though they were the team like they're not like TSM 2016 who were killing themselves to try and get the best record and win every single fucking game, like that all makes sense. Why don't we do this? Being as, like, there's no point going in order and go through. Let's start with the big topic, which is the Game 5 one, right? Mm-hmm. So since you two obviously like to talk about draft, let's talk about this angle where Team Liquid took Sona Taric, which is hilarious because they won the game, but people flamed them as though like it's bad to pick what you want and win the game. Mm-hmm. Now, I heard an interesting angle on this, which is because it had been banned in all the other games, basically Clutch is challenging you to pick it when they leave it open there. Like, they're actually telling you to fucking pick this shit. And I've always said this as well. Bearing in mind, NA especially has been so poor at executing Sona Taric. Everyone after the fact loves to point out, like, oh, look, you idiots, you got beaten by Sona Taric. It's like, mate, if I'm in NA, I want them to pick Sona Taric against me. Like, fucking go for it. Maybe not Team Liquid specifically, which maybe we can get into this. So what did you think of that whole angle? Like, Clutch leaving it up for the key Game 5 to, I think they instead switched to the Xayah ban or something. And then Team Liquid picking it instead of, like, again, that's a lane they should have had a lot of strength in, going with some more traditional lane. What do you think?
First up, the fans that are saying fuck Team Liquid for picking Sona Taric, I actually understand somewhat, because like Game 5 is supposed to be hype as fuck, and like it ramps up. No, it ramps up, so I understand why fans were upset they picked Sona Taric.
Dude, their goal is not to entertain you,
bro. But their goal isn't to entertain you. And it is completely within TL's right. Like, you can flame it for not being entertaining, but TL should pick whatever gives them the best shot. If they think picking Teemo Garen gives them the best shot, they should pick fucking Teemo Garen. Like, you can flame them, but you can flame them for it not being entertaining, but they should pick what they need to pick. So exactly. I actually understand the fan angle, but it is bullshit from a competitive aspect. Like, what if they wanted to be entertaining and not pick Sona Taric and they actually fucking lost? That's even fucking worse. So my take on that. And also, Clutch just shot themselves in the foot. I think TL in the end figured out the right bans. As Neil said, there's key picks that Clutch does really well with. I think those 3 are Rumble, Kiana, and Gangplank. Rumble, Gangplank, because when they get these 2 picks, they always do that late swap where they have Rumble and Gangplank go to the other lane. They can clear the wave with ults like Rumble ult or Gangplank ult, and then the jungler starts to herald early and the bot lane goes and takes herald. That's been such a bread and butter play for CG. I was shocked that TSM got done by Rumble and Gangplank versus CG, because I'm like, what the fuck? I don't even coach anymore, and I know they were going to do this just by watching their games. Like, how the fuck did you not know this? And then somewhat TL also let them have it and let them do that macro play on them, so I was shocked. It's like, how do you guys not know they're going to do this? But once they arrived at those bans, I thought Clutch was kind of fucked. And also, Vulcan was so key for them. When you think Vulcan champions and the champions that people ban Vulcan on, Alistar, Rakan. And then when he was playing Braum, he was actually the primary engage over the Skarner, and he had so much good W flash ult engages to get the fight started the correct way. And when they put him on Tahm Kench, I'm like, 1, you made yourself vulnerable to Sona Taric by going Tahm Kench. 2, you took your best engager on the team and you put him on a champion that can't engage or play make. You literally shot yourself in the foot. So props to Clutch coaching staff. I think what they did was amazing with that roster to get them to that point. But in Game 5, I have to criticize how you drafted.
Yeah, I think game 5 they messed up really bad. The Kali was like hard for Demonte for sure, but they could play against it, and CG has banned Sona all year, so they're definitely not good against it. So taking that chance to play against that, I thought was a really big mistake. Obviously, it gives you like a bot lane that you can deal with because now Doublelift is not playing lane dominant, but you still have to play properly against Sona Theric. And I think the way CG's bot lane, like they didn't know the strategy to beat Sona Theric with that Sivir Tahm Kench combination.
How do you beat it with Sivir Tahm Kench? They were like Sivir Tahm Kench.
I mean, I think Tahm Kench is not going to be a great pick into Sona Theric. I think you have to pick a lane dominant ADC with Tahm. So you do Varus, Tahm, and dive. I think another strategy is if you do Sivir with Tahm Kench. I don't think it's good. But your best bet is Sivir gets Executioner on early base, 800 gold, and she just spam pushes, and then Tahm Kench lives in the river and tries to influence mid.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense for a clutch. Like it was just such a questionable draft.
Yeah.
And you did, as you said,
I was muted there.
They've been banning Sona the entire split, and why in game 5? Like Vulcan was going off so much, and then you just stick him on Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
Oh god! When a player,
what I was going to say was there was an episode a few back. I think maybe when we had Zabatine on, didn't he say basically that actually like he thinks people misunderstand Sivir Tahm Kench because people were talking in that sneaky example about how like they were shit or whatever when they had these. So, whereas his logic was like it's not literally like a lane bully thing. It's more just it doesn't get bullied by stuff like. It's not something you're going to pick to smash the lane. Whereas the problem is you don't want the Sona Theric to go up in the game. Obviously, you don't want them to get into the match. You want to smash them early, right?
You want to like the two strategies I think work are smash them early, which I think is pretty hard to execute because you need an aggressive team. So I think if CG picked a different bot lane, I think maybe they have a chance to because I see Huni get TP advantage a lot. So maybe they could actually punish bot with Sona Theric. But I will say they never played it in regular season. They're banning Sona all the time. I think they opened up one time, and the other team didn't pick it. So they don't have practice on stage against Sona. So I thought opening it was pretty risky. So yeah, you either destroy it early, or the second one is you play a Sivir lane, like maybe Sivir Tahm, but you need Executioners to deny the healing, and then you play for turret plates. And so Sivir gets like a huge influx of gold, just like Sona will, because she has her Spell Thieves, and when she starts CSing, she'll catch up. So the idea is you get this like insane turret plating gold. You need to take first tower, and then you swap top and try to take more than 5 plates with your AD carry. And then your Sivir is like, each plate is like 30 seconds ahead. So if you take 5 plates, you're like 2.5 minutes ahead of the enemy, like gold wise. So you just try to be a few minutes ahead in game gold wise, and then you just play around that, and you're just always slightly ahead. I think the Caitlyn Lux lane people used to play into Sona Tahm Kench, like is kind of the idea behind that, where Caitlyn just gets like hyper fed because she just gets all these plates for free, never misses a CS. But picking a Sivir Tahm Kench lane and then picking that so you don't get punished is, I think, one of the worst options against Sona for sure.
And by the way, even beyond the draft, the way Clutch Gaming played in Game 5, they played Game 5 like a fucking shook team of people who didn't expect to be there and who were like, fuck, it's the 5th game, there's all pressure. Like, they just let themselves get choked the fuck out for the last, 20 minutes of the game, doing fuck all. The only chance they even had in the game was when Jensen made that weird play on Corky, which wasn't weird at all if you saw the pro view. Yeah. It just, the only thing that could go wrong is if someone bizarrely was just only in that bush, it turned out they were.
Well, I think a really understated part of that Game 5, I think Clutch had a game plan to dive Aatrox top level 3 because Tristana gets wave control. And what was he playing, Sejuani?
Who?
Yes, Lero's on Sejuani.
Yeah. And so they're gonna 3-man top, and Smithy's path was super weird. What was his path? Was literally he did his blue side jungle and then looped around and came back to top to counter the dive. So I don't know if it was Impact's call or if it was Smithy being smart, but that level 3 dive,
he read the Matrix.
Aatrox is out of the game because Triss is going to get at least 1 plate pre 5 minutes with E and Aftershock, or not Aftershock, Demolish. So Triss is going to get a huge CS lead and then perma push forever. But literally, Smithy did Genius move, or Impact called Genius move, and literally protected the dive. So Corky got his free base. Karma lost waves, lost pressure, and then Karma's in an okay early matchup, but eventually she's going to get hard outscaled by Corky. So I think that play was really, 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 really important for that game. Because I think if Triss gets that kill or Aatrox gets denied and Triss gets the level lead, that's their win condition. That's what they're playing around.
Right.
I didn't like the draft, but I liked that they had one plan, and then I was really happy that TL just like completely fucked it by just looping around, taking blue side jungle and protecting the dive.
To get into a little bit nitty gritty, I think they...
By the way, just as a quick aside, because I've got one last point abstract on the draft that I want to make, which is, I know people might think this is a joke, but I'm actually serious. Because I don't think Team Liquid saw a world that they were losing this series. And in fact, I don't think that they were forced to really address the draft until game 5 because they were always leading in the series. They always thought, well, we were going to win the series, of course. I wouldn't be surprised if they came in thinking, we won't show everything until the final because whoever we play in the final, maybe we want something in reserve. Maybe we don't want to show our whole draft strategy. Like that sounds implausible because normally when you get to a semi-final, you can't really play with those sort of stakes. But Clutch Gamer wasn't even supposed to be here. Remember, this was supposed to be TSM probably. Like this is actually I don't think that's so crazy. What do you think? Is that too much of a conspiracy theory?
I did that once. I did that once where I felt like it was like the IEM San Jose where we got blown out by Unicorns of Love, where we saved the strat for finals. If you have that happen once, any team you're ever on again, you never ever do that. And I think TL has so much experienced players and experienced coaching staff. I'm sure they made that mistake once before, and it's a mistake you never make again. So I don't think they saved any picks.
I mean, I can't remember who said it or where I heard it from, but it makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, usually after the upset, like the Clutch upsetting TSM, like that's it. Their run's done. They did their upset, and they're now going to return to normal.
It's supposed to get downloaded, yeah. People are supposed to figure out.
So I was kind of surprised, but not really when I figured, like, I bet TL just never played CG in scrims. Because, yeah, that, like, 10-minute swap, holy shit. Those players need to wake up and adapt properly in game. Like, that's pretty egregious. They did it in regular season, and they did it in playoffs in CSM and against TL, and were successful. You shouldn't get free early leads by a predictable play, especially if you were the only team who's doing it. You become very counterable. So I was pretty upset TL didn't adjust to that. But I think, yeah, they went into the series thinking it's going to be 3-0. We can hide stuff. I'm pretty sure they tried to hide stuff.
Loco,
what?
I'm going to do this thing right now where I throw you under the bus completely, even though you're my co-host and need to be on every episode. So even though I should be all about maximizing your strengths, showing you off well, I'm going to allow you to go first. What do you think of DeMonte's play in this series?
What I think of DeMonte's play? Very good on Kiana, and just... Things could have gone terrible for DeMonte. That Irelia versus Silas solo kill, where if DeMonte actually when DeMonte dies, if Jensen doesn't die in reverse, like it can be bad. But Jensen kind of had like an off series. Like at the start, like Akali was really good, and then there's times where he's going in on the kill. Where it became like really close. I thought like Jensen versus DeMonte should have been even more smashy. I feel like it should have been more like game 1, but as like the games went by,
I thought Jensen was the best player in the whole series for me.
Team fighting, 100% yes. In lane, only game 1.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Team fighting, I agree, 100% yes, but laning actually got wonky for Jensen like as it went on, so I was kind of weirded out.
All right, fair enough. He didn't take the bit there, actually, guys. Because the problem is, this is the problem with Twitter, because sometimes people half troll. Like, I realize the whole, like, Tanner time thing is basically a meme, right? The problem is, though, Loco, again, I'm not trying to super call you out, but you do have a natural, it's understandable, you have a natural bias. In the same way as coaches are often biased to players they've worked with, you have a natural bias to players that you're friends with as well.
I'm good friends with Jensen. I genuinely am good friends with Jensen. I don't want to go with the meme again, but I'm a good friends with him. We call him J Money.
Listen, we talk shit about you all the time, but fair enough. I don't know, maybe, who knows? Maybe he does that with you. I don't think so, but whatever. No, anyway, I get the point, right? But the point is this, right? In this scenario, like, I felt like people took that Kiana game and they way spun it out of control. Like, I know it was a pivotal game to keep them in the series and stuff, but first of all, it's Kiana. Like, I don't know if you're watching playoffs at all, but in any region with good players, Kiana will fucking body the game if it's a mid lane champion. Like, in Europe, we even play it like every position if you G2. Like, you just do whatever the fuck you want. It's broken as fuck. So I don't really know what's exceptional about just doing like your ult and fucking forwards and then 3 buttons. Like what's so sick about that? There's not like mad playmaking that he was doing. He was just going straight in and getting the kills. Like, there was no like next level shit. So fair enough. That game was good, but it was broken champion in my opinion. The rest of the series, he was all right. Listen, for a rookie, not really true rookie, but like someone who hasn't been in many playoffs, he did all right. But I thought he was overall outclassed by Jensen. I definitely didn't think he was that sick. Like, I think people are scraping the barrel if you want to hold this guy up as like
it's just a feel good story. The next
great players. He's just an okay player.
And Clutch Gaming's just a feel good story. Everyone's like, oh, Tanner time. Oh, they did it from this. Like, I don't think like serious analysts or like, let's say this, I don't think Tanner's gonna upgrade teams next year. I think best case scenario is he stays on Dignitas and like roster stays similar. I don't think he's gonna go from Dig to a better roster. Because that's when like people are actually like investing in you, right? You can say nice things about people, but when you actually want to work with them, like that's where the actual respect is. When you're willing to give them a fat salary, like you can say nice things.
Like put it this way, like sadly, I guess I couldn't bait you into it. I thought maybe you'd go off because here's the thing, and the problem a lot of people have, by the way, even people who know loads about the game, is sometimes one game will stick out in their mind and they'll just think like, oh, that's what the guy's like. He's amazing. So I will just say this: if an EU mid laner did the stuff that Demonte did in this series, no one would fucking go mental about it, mate. Like that would be considered par for the course. Like, that's actually not even that sick a performance. Like in EU, the expectations for mid are way higher than that.
I think the one ult you're thinking about, though, everyone would talk about no matter what.
Oh, of course. It looked flashy.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah,
I mean, it's not like oh shit, like you're a better Kiana because you're the only one who's done this ult. It's more like kind of circumstantial, like the enemy team's grouping up here, and then this, like, so many things happened for this to work. But when it did pull off, I was like, that was a good one. That was a fun one to watch.
That's also the problem with the champion is, like, anyone who carries on it, it looks mega when you kill people. Yeah. Like, it looks impressive as fuck, even though you aren't really doing that in the next level shit, you know, like, dude, it just looks awesome.
The design is so bad.
It's an assassin without skill shots and stuff. So it's like...
That's what tilts me about it, mate.
Yeah, so you get to a point where you're like, I choose you, you die now.
Dude. I wish people could see, like, like reaction videos. I wish there was like a documentary crew who could have filmed my reaction to learning a lot of things about League when I first came in, because I came from so many like hardcore esports games and I'd followed games for so long. I was trying to give it a chance because I used to play like a little bit of Dota way back in the day when it was just a Warcraft 3 map. So I used to think like that. And by the way, like, yeah, compared to Counter-Strike, it's not that skilled a game. But like Dota compared to League, like mechanically was way like more demanding, etc. Like there's a lot of aspects that were quite hard when I wasn't like a Dota player. I was just a guy playing it in like IRC channels with the fucking CS people I knew. So when I came to League, I was thinking, oh, it's going to be a bit like that. And I remember loads of things that I would ask people. And I was shocked by some of the answers. Like famously, I've told this story before. I remember saying to someone who played League, like, so why can't you just queue as the role you want? And then he goes, Riot doesn't acknowledge that roles exist. And I was like, what do you mean, though? Like, you mean just like, like if you want to swap a champion? And he goes, no, they don't acknowledge technically that any role exists except like jungle, basically. He said, and I was like, you can't be serious. And he was like, no. And he showed me like the post that famously said it, you know. So like on similar lines, I remember coming in and being like, remember original Rise before all the reworks? So Rise, the one that my beloved Flame used to play back in season 3. I remember watching a game and being like, fucking hell, this champion looks so sick when they dominate in the team fight. And then the person I was talking to goes, some of these abilities they're doing are just on click. And I'm like, wait a minute, what do you mean though? And he goes, if you're just within range, it just happens. And I go, well, what's the counterplay? And he goes,
Don't be in range.
And I was like, that's not counterplay. What the fuck are you talking? And I literally thought, like, am I crazy? Yeah. But it's everyone telling me this is a fucking sick game. Like, who's designing these champions? What's the counterplay?
They realized there was problems with it, so they remade him. And then they realized there was problems with the remake, so they remade it.
It's always going to be broken.
And then they realized there's problems with this. We're going to mini rework it, and then we're going to nerf it into Billion so it doesn't see pro play anymore. And that's where we're at. But also, going back to Kiana point, Riot talked about this before. They hate it when assassins disable you and when assassins don't give you this like window of outplay where they're like, okay, this is my kill potential window, and if I don't kill you in this kill potential window, then I lost my chance. So they started taking away disability from assassins. What is it? Kassadin no longer silences.
Yes,
LeBlanc no longer silences. They're like, assassins with CC is bad. This is bad game design. That's why we're remaking assassins. And they come up with Kiana with a fucking root plus a knockback slash stun. Like, you literally said this is bad game design. You literally said you wouldn't come out with stuff like this. You said CC on Assassin is bad. You said there needs to be counterplay. And you fucking broke your own rules.
There's counterplay. Don't get in range.
Well, my joke on someone in Insight used to be...
Walk away.
The counterplay is you can always ban it. That was my other joke, back in the day. Like... That's ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, I was surprised it took this long. I mean, kind of not surprised NA took this long to pick up Kiana. I'm surprised EU took this long to pick up Kiana, though. I thought Kiana would be released.
I thought from week 1 they'd just be all smashing from fucking mid with it,
Yeah.
I think as people play more Gragas and they step away from Jarvan Seju, I think Kiana priority is going to go up and up. So for finals, where Xmitty and both Svenskeren Karen play a lot of Gragas and they're excellent Gragas players, I think we can potentially see Kiana be one of the more power picks.
Right, let's do the preview of the finals then. So the finals is exactly the finals I think we should have had, really. Like, these are the two teams I thought for most of the split were the best two teams. The only problem is Pr0lly, even though on paper in isolation it's a great matchup, there's a bunch of great players, there's MVP candidates, there's veterans, people have even been on different teams, there's all the key matchups in that sense. The big problem is, historically, Cloud9 just always loses to Team Liquid in these eras of these cores. So coming into the final, does the Clutch series give you any kind of hope that this will be different?
A little bit, because I mean, like, TL, I think, has been trying new things. So I thought it was pretty surprising that, like, they only had one game where I think they played, like, Caitlyn Lux, like, Smash Bot into the game that way. They only played one game that style, and I was like, you guys know that's the style that you guys always win on, right? So I don't know if they completely forgot that. So that's a little bit worrying for TL. But I think biggest thing is, like, I don't know. I haven't been that impressed with C9 in the past before they went into playoffs against TL. Like last summer, I thought it was like very clear TL was going to win like very, very fast. But this
Don't
C9,
worry, Locodoco predicted TSM would win once they made the final, but never mind. He also predicted they'd actually finish first this split and had a bet with me, believe it or not. And he let me take Team Liquid at literally a 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah, I exploited the fact that you literally can't get over Reginald buying you an extra portion of fries one time.
But was it animal fries?
Yeah. Dude, I've tried having the intervention with you about TSM again and again. So at this point in time, I have to just profit from you being on drugs. Like I'll help you get to the bottom faster. Listen, mate, if I really wanted to fuck with you, I'd send a girl to fuck with two people from. Whatever. I did that subtly. Yeah, go on. Whatever.
Yep.
I don't even know what the reference is. I'm not a kid. I'm not like you. I'm not in.
Oh my god! I'm muted. Oh my fucking god! I was muted. Holy shit! I was muted. Oh my god!
Wait a minute.
I'm fucking stupid. I was muted. You guys
muted
weren't
the whole time.
No, I was muted. You guys weren't.
No, on the stream.
For like 10 seconds. It wasn't that long.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like earlier when you were eating the food.
No.
And the audience just hates you so much they didn't say it. They were just like you stay mute on the pod. It was just me and Pr0lly, and then just like 5-minute segments of silence.
But because of you, I have PTSMD.
Okay.
Gotta get that one in.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But no, yeah. So basically, I think the C9 one will be closer. Historically, makes me feel really guilty to vote C9, but I am a lot more impressed with them right now.
Loco, come on. Let's see in what way you're going to mindfuck yourself to believe that
3-2 TL. 3-2 TL.
Oh, here we go.
Wait, 3-2. You don't think there's a potential that TL loses?
Here's the thing, right? When two teams as good as these two play, there's always a chance that the underdog wins. It's the reason why you get a lot of upsets that happen in pro sports or whatever. That they are upsets, but they're not like the miracle on ice, where it should never happen. Basically, like when a team's as good as Cloud9 is relative to team, they absolutely can win. It's just that unfortunately, I think there's stylistic elements. I mean, they probably won't, unfortunately. So I personally would take Team Liquid as well. I think personally they'll win 3-1, and that'll be like one game for Cloud9. Maybe Svenskeren has a ridiculous early game in one, pops off. He has a pretty good champion pool at the moment, but I still do think Team Liquid's going to win. I mean, I also think, I know it's been brought up a million times, but the fact that Team Liquid is so good when they play like a scaling style and team fight, that's so good for playoffs. It's so good if you've got that in your back. If you know you're the one with the advantage like that in a series, you can even take losses and feel like you're still going to win the game.
I think the biggest discrepancy is sneaky double lift, but one thing that C9 really has going for them is mid and jungle. Like when your mid and jungle can match the other mid and jungle or be even stronger, that is such a good strength to have. So I think C9 has like a puncher shot. Like when you can win mid and jungle, you can take over the map. You can make the bot lane advantage not matter.
on those lines, someone showed me a quote that you said on Face Check, right? Because I've told you I have all these spies. I don't really. They're just fans of man who hate.
They just tweet.
Basically viewers of this show, right? So what they do is they collect clips of Loco doing stupid shit elsewhere on his stream and just send me the clips like little cunts. And I don't even watch the VOD, but I'll get to know them what he said. So they showed me this part, right, where you'd said, and they were all laughing at you because they thought you were an idiot. You'd said a quote, right, that on the surface sounds mental, where you said. If Jensen was Bjergsen and Bjerg was Jensen,
that's not what I said.
Then Jensen would be bigger than he is. Which everyone was like. First of all, everyone was like equations flying around. Like the fuck does that mean? But I even know what you mean, Loco. What you actually meant was if they were the same. Like if you just swapped the skills of the player. The logic of Loco is that Jensen isn't a guy who's like killing himself, grinding 24/7. So if you give that work ethic to Jensen, I agree, he would be the biggest player in the West, dude, because his skill level is amazing. This is the point I was going to bring up. This is why I actually brought up your point, and I agree with you. What is crazy about Jensen is the reason why this guy never looks that sick on Team Liquid in the regular split. But then when it gets to the playoffs, and especially international, suddenly it levels up. It's because he's not a guy like this guy got sick of solo queue in NA like 4 years ago, mate. Like he's just playing the minimum he has to, and then he plays the scrims, and he's still such a good player that he's still one of the best players in the league. But it's only when he gets to the most important matches is he going to go 100% in a sense. Now, that already, by the way, shows you've got mad talent because you know how few most players can't choose to just have time off and then I'm going to turn it on now. Like there's no switch for most people to flip. Like you have to build it up bit by bit. But this guy is just an outrageously talented player.
I mean, I will say if you're thinking about the clutch series and how well Jensen did, like I think Demonte is one of the weakest mid laners.
Oh, sure, of course.
Like for laning phase wise, I think outside of lane he plays really well with his team. I think he's playing team fights really well. But
let's face it, most of the best mids in NA are they're imports, so it's understandable.
Yeah, but like for actual laning phase, I think he's like one of the weakest for sure. And I think against Jensen, when Jensen gets like the Kali side, like it's gonna look way worse. But I think if he plays that against Niski, like I don't think it's gonna.
He's surely going to be motivated to crush another EU import who's playing for his old team in the final, where he can then deny them attack. Like all the factors there. Like if you can't get up for that, Jensen, just fucking give it up, mate. Like you're just not made for this game. That's every factor you need. I thought his banter also was very good, by the way. If that was really, I'll give him big props. That was actually well executed. Because the key thing is, and this is what people don't know about doing banter live on camera, it's not just about thinking up the joke. Like, if anyone isn't aware of this, the reason why stand-up comedy is a craft is the joke itself is like step one. How you like phrase it and the timing of it is everything. Like if you put too many words into a joke, it fucks it up. If you mess up one of the words, it fucks up the rhythm of it, you know. So the fact that he actually nailed that and said basically like, you know, I was never able to bring Cloud9 a championship when I was there, and I hope to continue. Something like that, right? That's pretty fucking good banter, actually. That's legit. I like that.
J Money's been feeling himself. I will say, if Jensen sucks in finals...
I like the way that's a thing in NA as well. This must be where England... Like, there's a famous saying we have in England, actually, Pr0lly, that, like, Britain and America are two countries divided by a common language. Because the joke should be we're united, right? Because we have the same language, English. But the point is, because so many of it's, like, the variants are different. Yeah. Like, the most famous example, by the way, is, you know, you guys call this bag that you put on the front, you call it a fanny pack, right? Yeah. Well, in England, fanny doesn't mean your ass. It means a woman's vagina. So the fact you call it a fanny pack's retarded, right? So we call it a bomb bag, even though itself doesn't make sense because it's on the front.
That's pretty bad.
I know, that makes even less sense, right? That's even more.
That's not a very good argument.
But anyway,
change it to a different word.
The point I was going to make was that when you said that, Loco, what was it Loco just said there a second ago?
J Money's been feeling himself.
Yes, when you say that in America, like, oh, he's feeling himself, like, feeling yourself in England means you're just like masturbating. Like no one would ever say like, dude, listen, I'm fucking popping off. I'm really feeling myself now.
It means
you have to change. If you change your tone when you say he's feeling himself, then it changes it too, the meaning. I don't want to be the one.
It's like when Loco once said to me that he was looking forward to. There's no real way to phrase it. It was going to be too dodgy. The joke was going to get too dodgy. It's going to get too edgy. So whatever. We'll leave that. You all know where I was going. You all know where I was going.
But Jensen, if he doesn't do well in finals, I hope people give credit to Niski and Svenskeren, because Niski and Svenskeren have been on a tear. And I will say, I was one of the ones that did doubt Niski. He wasn't looking that great on Azir. When I saw him on Azir, I didn't think he was that good. But when Azir Quirky gets taken away, Niski is the best mid laner right now.
If I was Niski, what a fucking dream world I'm living in right now. So I have Licorice, and especially because of his injury, who's not going to be played through, and actually is someone who already, one of his strengths was he didn't have to be played through as a top laner, but is the best native top. My bot lane, for all the memes about Sneaky, the guy has made a career off not having to be a carry lane, but still survive and be competent in team fights. Like that's a fucking amazing setup there. I even had, admittedly not in this meta, but in the previous metas last year, I had a guy at support who could actually make some nice plays on certain champions. Could definitely do so. And I have the MVP as my fucking jungler. That is the dream. If I'm the mid laner, that's the dream scenario. And then I've got Reapered, who, because he wants to do 200 IQ draft every time, let me pick whatever the fuck I want. Just giving me all these ridiculous off meta champions that I play. Like that would be the dream if I were him. So I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying that will make you be the absolute best you can be. You
did hate on him. You said C9 would be better with Froggen, no?
I still think it.
You still think with this performance that Niski has shown that Froggen would be better on C9?
I literally just explained why. So if you can't see that Froggen doesn't have any of those things, then there's no point having the discussion, Loco. Like if you can't see that there's a difference between the setup of the two teams.
I think there is setup, but I think Niski and Froggen are so different, and the element that Niski brings and the synergy that Niski and Sven.
Loco, I'm fully aware that you literally halfway through this summer split had Bjergsen as your best mid laner at a time he himself was playing like shit. His team was falling apart, and when Froggen had appalling players for teammates. So in your mind, you're worse than Kelsey Moser because you think that literally, you literally have on Golden Guardians 0 top players, and yet they're beating top teams, challenging for playoffs, making it a top 4. It's almost like, how's that possible by your logic? They're not good at macro. They have no fucking poaching. They have 0 factors in your mind. You failed the analysis on that one, Loco.
I'll give Froggen credit, and I think it's untrue.
And Haunter.
And I think
some to Haunter as well.
Yeah, okay, and you can't say they have 0 top players other than Froggen, and then
they have 2 players.
They have 2 top tier players, so I'll give credit to Haunter and Froggen. And I will also say I overrated Bjergsen on that point. Maybe he should have been a little bit lower. But one thing that always gets kind of thrown out is that was the week before the TF games, and that was before the worst 4-week stretch. So Bjergsen was still a top tier mid. There was a 4-week stretch where Bjergsen just died, and a corpse of Bjergsen started playing for him instead. But the point I want to go back on is if Froggen replaced Niski, is Froggen would never have the kind of synergy and never have kind of the strength that Niski has with Svenskeren. They would be a different kind of team altogether, and I think it's ludicrous to say that team could win where this C9 got so far and they're getting so much out of Niski Svenskeren. It would just be a different version of Cloud9, and I just don't think that version of Cloud9 would have all these kind of strengths and would go to finals like this.
This is one split, mate. We'll see in the future. We'll see how Niski does in 2 years. Froggen's been playing since fucking 2012, mate. It's 2019 now, and he's still a relevant player being voted on all polls.
Definitely very relevant.
I kind of agree with Loco a bit, honestly.
You can do that if you want.
We'll go. One thing that Froggen's gonna do is he's gonna carry when he gets to play his champions for sure. So I think Reaper could figure out a draft to do that. The only thing is his playstyle is at a sacrifice to his team, where I'm gonna carry on Karthus or Victor or Anivia, and you guys won't have any mid pressure all game. So playing against a top team and only being able to opt into that strategy, I think is gonna be really hard. So I think that's where I would see the problem with Froggen on C9.
The last statement I'll make on this topic is, first of all, Svenskeren is Danish, so you'd have a Danish mid and jungle. They could literally have conversations that nobody else could have. Niski can't do it. He's fucking Belgian, mate. Which I know for you is isn't that the same country? Shut the fuck up. Anyway,
I didn't say that.
So you think Froggen's gonna be I'm playing Nivea?
This is the straw man episode, Loco. You don't get to be a real person on the scene. You are just an avatar for Reddit. They download into your body and then just engage with us, in Matrix.
I've been at war with Reddit, so that's ironic. But go ahead.
But anyway. No, the point. This is the point I would make. When you say that, there, I have no doubt if you had Froggen on this team, they would play through him, and Svenskeren would heavily play around his lane. So I think they'd have mad mid priority. I mean, am I missing something? Does he farm badly? Am I missing something?
Now, if you play Anivia, Victor, Karthus, if he played his three, obviously, if his champion pool changed, if he plays, if he gets the counter pick right, Vel'Koz is kind of an aggressive counter. I'd say Victor, Anivia, Karthus aren't really aggressive counter picks. They're counter picks, but not really to do stuff. It's to farm and to beat them later in the game. So I think they could, but if you want to play through mid with those picks, you need to be really much higher level than the enemy mid jungle. Because if the enemy mid jungle is playing something really simple, Aurelia Sejuani, or they're playing Gragas Kiana, Gragas Yasuo, Like they're gonna win that 2v2 always.
Can I ask you something?
So,
in scrims, does Froggen pick things he doesn't pick on stage?
yeah.
Yeah, well, here's one of the things that does my head in about Locodoco. Okay. One of the things I know about Froggen and his mentality in the game is this is a bad mentality in some senses, but it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. He's the basketball player who, if he's the star player and you're a bad teammate, he's not going to give you the ball as many times as he'll give the other guy. Mm-hmm. Because his logic is like, why am I going to pass to you so you can miss? So Froggen's logic, I know from talking to him over the years, is he himself, this is the reason why if he plays solo queue, he plays everything. Mm-hmm. Because he actually does think he can play loads of champions that are other one. Like, for example, in Echo Fox, he used to play Echo the Champion on fucking solo queue all the time. Like, he'd play all sorts of stuff that you'd never see him play in a game, in theory, right? Mm-hmm. His logic would be this. Now, he's never going to admit this, because how can you trash your teammates as a fucking player on the team, or the franchise player? Mm-hmm. But basically, if you have the teammates Froggen has now, what I think he would argue would go like this. It's like, why am I going to pick like an assassin when if I then get my ship pushed in or I fuck up like one early dive, game's over? Like I had like our chance to win was I have to let the other lanes do what they do, and then if they don't win the game and then it goes to the late game, I'll carry on the champions that I always traditionally carry on like that. Like to him, that's like the most logical way.
I wish he did that more.
So the point is, if he was in Cloud9, I guarantee you, mate, he'd be playing way more. He'd have way more like TF games. He'd way more. You already saw he tried to bring out talent. I think he would play a lot more of those champions. Now, listen, he's never going to play them like fucking. I don't know about Bjergsen, because Bjergsen's become a lot more like Froggen over the years, but he's never going to play them like Caps, obviously. He's never going to do that. That's totally against his philosophy. But he would play a pressure style with these champions. Like he'd be like half Froggen, half meta, basically. I guarantee it. Mm-hmm. It just might never be in that team, so maybe we can never see it.
I'll agree with that. Like, he could probably play them, especially for the first, like, 10 minutes of the game. But, like, I still have never seen him aggressively play a side lane really well. So, and I know that's, like, a really hard concept to grasp with these assassins, because the playstyle is so different. It's not like, I'm going to push out a side wave and then, like, play Corki and I can hit tower. It's like,
unfortunately, he has always been on teams that were group team fight teams. I agree with that.
Yeah, so, I mean, so I understand, like, if this is his champion pool, because this is the way he thinks I can win the game, is only with these champions. I understand he probably has more that I don't know about. But like, yeah, if I threw an assassin at some other mid laners, like I could be very comfortable. Like, we're going to play out the game well, correctly. I don't have to do much as a coach. I think if I coach Froggen right now and he let me into his secrets about all the champion pool he plays and like all his styles and like all his thoughts, I still think I would have to coach him into side lane pressure. He wouldn't just be plug and play great mid laner. He'd be plug and play great mid laner for 4-1, and then we have to teach you how to play 1-3-1, or you have to learn how to play side lane well.
Right, what I'll say is this, look, anyway, to bring it back to the actual relevant topic, I noticed when Bjergsen's absolutely shit in the bed and not even relevant, you have to switch it to fucking Froggen all of a sudden, because you can't defend your own position. That's one of the things. I said this on Twitter, Loco, and it's totally accurate. I said it on the last episode, the worst thing about you is this, Loco. I can take my lumps. Like, when Froggen does badly, I can just say, yeah, he's not doing well this split. What you do is, you and TSM, the org, both do this. You just got fucking ass-pinned whenever you do badly. So you talk all that good buku shit 1 second after you won your first LCS split. Instead of being off-popping Domper and Yon, you're tweeting at me on Twitter, mate. Like, the difference is, when you're winning, that's a fact, go look up the timestamp. When you're winning, you love talking shit. You can't handle it when you lose, though. I can actually have an interesting discussion when I lose in that scenario. So what I'll say is this, I'll tie it back in.
Okay.
My point is, yes, if I look at this split and playing for this C9, and bearing in mind I haven't seen Froggen play, Nisqy was overall better, because I have already seen what he did. I know what he did. I'm having to speculate what Froggen would do. I never said that he would have done exactly this. I said if you reset the split and put Froggen there, I believe he would have been a better player, and it would have given actually Team Liquid a chance to win C9 a chance to win the league, whereas I actually don't think that they will be able to beat Team Liquid, unfortunately. And crucially, on the international level, I personally think Nisqy won't be as good. My problem with Nisqy is this. I'll give you the contrast to what I said earlier. I put him in the group with Power of Evil. Like, he's an above average player. At times when it's the right meta and the right team, I think he'll look like one of the best mids. But I do not think put it this way, I don't think these two players will probably go and they won't be Hall of Fame type players. Like, you know, when you think of like Europe has them all, but you know, like the Expecke, Alex H, when you go through those names, Bjergsen's on there, Jensen. If you go through that list, Power of Evil doesn't make the cut, I'm afraid. Like, he's a good player. At the moment, him and Febiven at the moment are the ones who are just on the outside looking in for me. And I think Nisqy will end up being like that. Like, I have to say, I'm not even going to hate on you. I think part of the reason he's looking like MVP is he plays in NA. I've always said the player I really wanted to go to NA always was Nuke Doc. Because I always thought if you sent Nuke Doc and you just gave him a good jungler, I think he would just tear the whole fucking LCS up. I think he'd destroy it completely.
So, I'll touch on like I guess not talking when we're losing. Like, of course, when I was a pro and a coach, like when we lost, like the worst thing to do is go on Twitter and go on Reddit. So most of the time I stay silent or said GG or like props to the enemy team. But like when we're having these like shows and I feel like I'm wrong, like I'll openly admit I'm wrong. Like I do think like, what is it? TSM wasn't that great this split. I do talk about like Bjergsen not being great that split.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay,
but you get mad if people make fun of you because of it. Like you act as though like, mate, when someone talk like, listen, by the way, I'm obviously the same with Froggen, so I'm not even going to deny that. But when some people talk about Bjergsen, you'd think they were talking about your fucking brother. And they were like, you're like, how dare you? He's my brother. And so, oh wait, no, he's just a fucking player I sort of knew about 3 years ago. I know you're going to say, no, he's a close personal friend. Mate, you know what? I'll give you a little secret about that. I'll give you a secret right now, by the way. When you have 100 close personal friends, you don't have any close personal friends, you dumb motherfucker. Like, there's a reason why they're
You're not a close personal friend, motherfucker.
I'm not in any way, mate. I'm just someone carrying your bitch ass, giving you free revenue on your channel, now booking the guests for you as well. What do? Turn up in a baseball cap and just laugh. Brilliant, yeah.
Duncan, you are a close personal friend. Anyways, why I overly
to be seen.
Okay, why
Up until week 4 I was. Yeah. Till those TF games, that's what broke our friendship, isn't it?
Why I overly defend Bjergsen is I think a lot of times Bjergsen can get praise he doesn't deserve due to the era and due to the rep of Bjergsen, but I also do think Bjergsen gets criticism that he doesn't deserve.
Oh, and I agree with that.
As someone that personally worked with Bjergsen, if I can defend him where Bjergsen, it's below Bjergsen to go down and like defend himself on a talk show. Honestly, like players of Bjergsen.
It isn't. That's just called being an entitled little, like, I'm fucking royalty. I shouldn't have to say anything. Well, then enjoy getting wrecked in all the narratives, you dumb cunt. If you won't participate in the narratives will continue without you. There's a great saying, right? Even though it's kind of weird because my personal philosophy is I'll never be involved in politics. But there's a great saying that comes from like antiquity in like Greek times or something, which says basically, if you refuse to rule or to take part in like government, you will be ruled by other people as a result. So it'll be a worse time for you.
Not the government.
So I've always told players, if you don't like the narratives, take part, change the course, make a good argument, battle against it. You can do that.
Why did you tell me this last year?
You could have done it, mate. You could have done it. I did say that, by the way. I'm not joking, by the way. I did say that last year when people were criticizing you. I said one of the biggest mistakes you made was just not giving people your side, basically. Like, you would have had to be very careful. I get it, and how you'd craft it. Like, it's hard to blame players. But if you could have, like, come up with, like, if you could have come on talk shows, taken the criticism, there's the first thing. If you just sort of say, there's some points to that, you know, and then all you have to do is like shade in a little bit. Like, you maybe point out like, but the way we were using the bot lane was different in the like, you just shade in a little bit of context. It actually reduces it for some people. Because here's the thing. I think Loco's right. I actually myself, believe it or not, sometimes get triggered when it's the bad splits. Everyone would think, oh, you hate Bjergsen and Reckless. I don't. I just think they were overrated players. So when people then tell me they're shit and go in on them, I hate that, actually. So what happens is the reason why sometimes, like in spring, I will absolutely defend Reckless's play in the spring. I think it was the best ADC in Europe. The reason why I then defend them is because I think the phenomenon that's happening here is because these players went so long without failing, and therefore they only got the praise, and oftentimes usually got overrated by their fans. When the moment comes that they fail, everyone who didn't like them or thought they were overrated, unfortunately, goes the other way and thinks, right, I have to make up for lost time, right? It's like when LeBron fails in the NBA, and I have motherfuckers telling me he's like a bomb. It's like, is he the third best player in the NBA now? The hyperbole's gone too far. So the point in that scenario is people go too far the other way, whereas like I'm agree with you. This was a pretty bad split for Bjergsen overall, but he's Bjergsen. So a bad split for Bjergsen was still probably better than Demonte's split, put it that way. Like, I'm not even hating on Demonte saying that. It's Bjergsen. Same with Reckless. Like, Reckless has had some bad splits in his career. I bet worst case scenario ever in his career, maybe worst, he was the 4th best ADC in Europe. Worst case scenario. This is still a great player. Like, these players, Bjergsen, these are Hall of Fame players immediately themselves. Like, they can retire tomorrow and be first ballot.
Okay. Is Froggen a Hall of Fame player for you?
Is that even you're just trying to fucking trigger me, mate. He's like way more of a Hall of Famer than half of these players. What the fuck are you talking about? Did you hear the part where he's still contending for like good position at 2019?
I think, what is it? Bjergsen and Jensen for sure. And I think Froggen probably, but depends on like how royal and like how exclusive you want to make Hall of Fame. Like, you can't have everyone in Hall of Fame, right? And some Hall of Fames are a little bit more looser than others.
Wait a minute. One thing I don't understand here is, right, you're not doing that thing, are you, right, where only modern players are good and everyone from the past was some bum who was playing in a bad... Like,
Fuck no.
You know, by that logic, you'd have to take some modern-day fucking basketball player over, like, Jerry West even Michael Jordan at this point in time should be considered outdated. Yeah, Mad Life is obviously way better than... Like, listen, if their careers end tomorrow, right now, Tussin is a way better player, but he's not Mad Life.
Oh, for sure.
Right? We agree with that.
Yeah.
So by that logic, by the way, I know everyone's going to forget this. I don't even need to do the last few years. Just give me CLG.EU, Evil Geniuses, Alliance. I don't need anything else from Foggins Creed. He's already a Hall of Famer off that alone.
Okay. I think that's a fair point.
He made top 4 at Worlds. He literally went to Worlds and perfect gamed the Korean team. He was the MVP of the fucking league at least once, probably should have been twice. He actually played, no one knows this because no one knows the stats because everyone's a moron. Alliance, when they won EULCS, won with the most dominant win rate in the history of the EULCS at the time. Better than any of the Fnatic teams. That's a fact. Now go and look at that team right now, Loco. Wicked, Shook, Tabs, Nif. How many of those are Hall of Famers? How many of those are still playing now? How many of those were relevant even 2 years later? 0? Was it 0? Oh, 0. What do you know? 0. So there we go. We know who the best player was. QED, fuck y'all.
Okay.
This is sort of degenerated at the end, doesn't it? It lost a lot of the plot and a lot of the steam.
I like when Froggen's Green brought up, I can see like that twinkle in your eye. When you're like,
why not?
All my studying is going to come out now.
Of course.
No one can defeat me.
Well, there's another thing I will say. Listen, I have never, ever claimed to be an expert about League of Legends, but I do think that watching the game a lot, you just pick up things, patterns, you can observe, like you get a sense for who's good, who's not. And obviously certain players, it's not even just bias. I have just watched every game Flames ever played. I've watched every game Froggen's ever played. Some of these players, I've watched like 500 games. So I don't really want someone who's occasionally seen them appear on their screen on an LCS broadcast tell me that they're going to, what are you talking about? He's overrated as fuck. Like when Flame played in China, I would watch the live stream where it was just his lane only. You don't know anything about his lane and phase compared to me.
I will say,
not hating on you,
I'm definitely not as obsessed about Pr0lly as you.
No, you're just obsessed with Bjergsen, a young boy from Denmark who you once knew about 2 years ago. Yeah, well, how weird, Loco.
You mean my good friend Thorin?
No, I'm Thorin.
Thor.
That's one of the only times I'll ever make the mean fucking lisp joke there, Loco. That was at least a good one, to be fair.
All right, let's close out the show. Neil, any final thoughts? And what's your prediction for finals?
I mean, if I had to bet actual money or my life on it, bet TL 3-2. I have a feeling that C9 can take it. Like
really?
49?
If they win, how do they win? Like, what's the pattern they're winning in?
Because TL did not learn the meta properly and didn't play well.
Okay. Duncan, your thoughts on the finals?
I think 3-1 Team Liquid. I actually think there's a pretty good chance that like fucking Jensen could be the MVP of the series as well. Like I said, I think all the factors are there for him to be super motivated and dialed in to go ham in this one. And I also think if you look like for me, the person who has to win the series for them is actually Svenskeren. It's not Niski. Like I think Niski will do what he can, but I think that lane's going to go where it's going to go. I think it's Svenskeren. If Svenskeren does really, really well, just stylistically, that's one of the few chances you ever have against Team Liquid is if you can attack Xmithy, if you can get in their ass early. Xmithy's just not, he hasn't been that jungle for many years where he wants to just like do ganks 24/7. Like it's not his style. So to me, if Svenskeren can go super ham, yeah, they can win. The problem is you still have to win 3 out of 5 games, which is going to be tough. So I'd just edge it to Team Liquid and say they're going to win.
Okay. I predicted 3-2 on FaceCheck, and I'm going to stay with my prediction. I think 3-2 TL. I think it's going to be close, but TL's just better. Like, C9's good, and C9's better than TL in certain aspect, but TL's just so better and so experienced, and I worry about Sneaky versus Double Lift a lot. And Zeyzal, while he's been looking better, like, it's still core JJ. I think the bot lane difference is going to matter.
Yeah, the bot lane one is a problem.
I don't know. I thought the Cody and Vulcan would have a lot harder trouble against TL.
I thought the same thing, yeah.
I feel like this
Core underperformed a lot. Core underperformed a lot. He had, like...
He was put on time, catch all the time, though.
So...
That's why I think it could be like a meta. Like maybe there's things are working out in scrims that we don't know about. But yeah, it seems a little weird. And I think like Sneaky and Zeyzal are better on Endure side than them. So I think it could happen. But I think, yeah, it's kind of on Svenskeren to do the work. I agree with that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Thank you so much to our gold Patreon supporters, ButtPounder420, Tobias Bernasconi, and Icelandic C9 Fan. Without you guys, this show wouldn't have been possible. And thank you so much to all the Listen Loco Patreon supporters in silver, bronze, and iron. And lastly, I have a very special thank you today. We had someone donate $200 throughout the whole stream. Thank you so much to Texas Yeens Ho 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 for your generous $200 donation. I almost never get donations of this size, so I am very happy and very grateful for this donation. Like, without you, yeah, I mean, a straight $200. Like, a lot of times, like, whenever I stream, at the end of the day, I'm like, holy shit, I streamed for 8 hours and I got 30 subs. Like, that's minimum wage. That's less than minimum wage. And I overthink streaming a lot and whether I should continue doing content. But donations like this makes me really appreciate streaming and really appreciate the fan base and the amount of support you guys show, and it makes me want to go on. So thank you guys so much.